No G with a Z, Pod. It's the Smoking Guns Podcast. Hey, we are here. We are with you for the next couple of hours. We're going to talk about what we always talk about, professional football in San Antonio. That includes the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL.
Yep.
And the San Antonio Gunslingers of the IFL. And let me tell you right now, from right off the top, I'm Philip Higginbotham. I'm joined as always by my friends Leo and RC. I am already a bit frustrated with the fact that we have moved to the IFL and the Brahmas are now in the UFL, and those are only one space apart from each other on the keyboard when I'm texting, and I hit the wrong one every time. Every time. UFL, IFL. They are right there together, and it is bothering me. We're going to talk about some professional football. We have some friends coming on and joining us. We have Miss Coach Casey from the Six Shooters. RC, you got to spend some time with them. What?
I think we pronounce it Kathy, not Casey. Kathy.
Cassie?
Cassie.
Okay. I got you. And we've got DJ Myers in the second hour coming in at 8 o'clock. He's going to spend some time with us. And we got a bunch of other stuff that we're going to talk about and get to. Stuff that we've had stuff happen today in professional football in San Antonio. Like a huge story dropped about 2.5 hours ago, about our kicker situation for the San Antonio Brahmas. So we're going to talk about that some.
All important kicker situation.
But we're football people. We love football. And let's face it, there's no bigger story in football than the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is set.
True.
I know it's not in San Antonio. One day, maybe, we'll have the Super Bowl here in San Antonio. But I've noticed already that there are two very strong factions of people paying attention to this Super Bowl. It's apparently people who like Taylor Swift and people who really, really don't have apparently picked their sides based on T-Swift.
It's
it's kind of crazy.
The Taylor Swift Bowl, I guess.
Did y'all ever see that comedy Valentine's Day where Taylor Swift is in that movie and she actually likes a football player?
No, I have not.
Oh, you guys need to check it out. It's super funny.
Do not ask me any Taylor Swift trivia. I will not be able to answer a single question. I'm not a follower.
So I'm going to be really honest.
And she's dating a football guy, and she's like, "Oh my god, he's so hot." So it's kind of like, what? Years ago, she did that movie with the guy from what was it? The Vampires and the Wolves. What was that?
There's been a bunch of vampires.
Like Team somebody and Team.
Oh, you're talking about
Twilight. I remember
Twilight.
that.
Yeah.
My daughters. Yeah.
He was the main guy in The Wolf. What was his name?
I couldn't tell you.
Anyway, if someone who's young, they know. Anyway, in the movie, she was dating him.
So far, this is the worst football podcast ever. This
right. Oh my goodness. No, you know what? I got nothing. I've got nothing but love for Taylor Swift, and there's one reason why. Her music, to me, you can take it or leave it. Like, I think it's good. I think it's catchy. It's poppy. It's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Right.
But I have 3 girls, and nothing can be a more fun father-daughter moment in the car when you're driving somewhere and it's boring anyway than throwing on Taylor Swift. And I know the music because they listen to it, and they know the music because they listen to it. And we sing along and have a great time. And so T-Swift has brought me closer to my daughters and given us memories that we'll always remember, singing, Shake It Off in the car and whatever. So I love that, and I'm fine with that. And I don't care that she has a guy that's in football and he's pretty popular and she's pretty popular. I don't understand all these people getting so upset about, Taylor Swift being on TV during football games. I get it. Like, we're there, we're watching football, but this is not a new thing. Like, football players and sports stars have always had famous girlfriends. I can remember Jessica Simpson being on Kelsey a ton when her and Tony Romo were dating. This has always been a thing. Who cares? If it bothers you that much, don't watch the Super Bowl. There are like 70 million people that are going to watch the Super Bowl. They won't miss you if you don't watch the Super Bowl or 45 seconds of Taylor Swift on your TV.
Leo, why does it bother you so much?
What? The Taylor Swift stuff?
Yeah.
Simply because I don't like I can't stand the guy she's dating. Travis Kelce is the devil. If you are a Broncos fan, Travis Kelce is the devil. Ask any Broncos fan and they will tell you the same.
So we do get a repeat of a Super Bowl that we saw a few years ago. I'm bored with it already, but that's okay because the Super Bowl is really just the warm-up act now. We have 61 days until the San Antonio Gunslingers take the field in San Diego against the Strike Force. Probably roughly the same amount of time for the Brahmas, but they won't tell us when they're playing or what they're playing or what their schedule is. So we can't really talk about that. We do know it's 61 days until the Gunslingers kick off, and that's what's important now. Like, we know who the Super Bowl teams are. I don't care who wins. I don't care who loses. There are decent stories on both sides. There are reasons I do not like both teams. I don't care. I am frustrated for our buddy, our friend, and a guy that's watching us right now, head coach Tom Manas. His Lions were so close. To punching their ticket for the Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
And old Coach Dad Campbell, who did what he always does and gambles. That's who he is. He goes for it on fourth downs. He's that guy. Gave up 2 opportunities.
He's like every other. He's with all apologies to Coach Tom Manas. I love you. We love you on the show. He's like every other head football coach. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else. And
take the points, man.
But he has his way of doing things, and in the situations twice where you take the points.
There were 3 fourth down decisions he made, and I disagreed with every one of them. He went for it at the end of the first half. He kicked the field goal at the end of the first half. I would have went for it there. I mean, they're not going to take the ball and get down the field and score on you. Go for it. You're right there at their end of the field. Try it. Try to get that touchdown and go into the locker room with this really like 3 or 4, what would it be? 3.5 possession lead into the locker room. Like, make a statement at the end of the half. I would have gone for it there. He kicks the field goal. Mm-hmm. And then the next 2, he opts to go for it and excuse the field goal, and I wouldn't have done that. Tom Manas, who is a lot smarter about football than I am, says kick the field goals. Take the points, man. Take the points.
Yeah. But that's not what got him there. So
that's not who he was. That's not what got him there. And so he was going to be Dan Campbell, and maybe he learned something.
I told you this, Philip, between us, and I'll put it out there for everybody else to see. To me, both those conference championship games were same story, different circumstance. You saw one team that's been there before, knows how to win at that level, in that big of a stage, and one team that just didn't have a clue, didn't have what it took to win on that size of a stage. It was too much for them. And they learned a lesson.
Tom Manas says 49ers made adjustments. The Lions just gave a speech at halftime. Yeah. I mean, it felt like, and that's what, I mean, in reality, that's what they needed to do. They were ahead. They were in control of that game at halftime. You don't want to make a whole lot of adjustments. Let's just do what we're doing. That just didn't work out. Didn't work out. Super Bowl set. I don't care. Chiefs, 49ers, Taylor Swift.
Go Niners.
Whatever. Go Niners. See, I can't do that. As a Cowboy fan, you just can't. The words won't come out of my mouth like go. Can't do it. Just won't work. That's why I wanted the Lions to win really badly. I really did want the Lions to win. I wanted to have somebody to cheer for in the Super Bowl. I don't have that. Weston Colin checking in. Purdy is a great story.
Yeah.
That's a really good story. Mr. Irrelevant making, whatever he's making, which is
it.
still plenty of money. It's a lot of money, but he's going to win, he's got a possibility to win a Super Bowl here, making, a minimum contract. That's really kind of an interesting story.
I'll take that money.
Yeah, I'd take, I'll take the money.
It's not insignificant, but yes, no, great story.
So we move into the spring season. We've got spring football coming up. We'll see the Brahmas and we'll see the Gunslingers coming up. Brahmas making big news today. Leo, I don't know if you had a chance to look at any of it. I actually watched the whole 12-minute video that he produced, but destroying, because that's what everybody calls him, is the kicker for the San Antonio Brahmas at this point.
Is he the only kicker on the roster?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's
is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I have no idea. I do know that he has 5.4 or 5.7 million subscribers on YouTube. I know that it's good for the Brahmas as far as marketing, and I know it's good for the UFL as far as marketing. And maybe that's all this is for. I don't know. It'll be interesting. He was a kicker at UCF. He's a social media guy and personality. In fact, if you watched XFL games last year, they went to him several times on the sidelines to give his 2 cents. He would be there at games. I remember one specifically where it was so loud in whatever stadium he was in that they would go down to him and he would be talking. You couldn't hear anything because he was on the sideline right there in front of the fans. You couldn't hear anything he's saying, but he's the kicker for the San Antonio Brahmas now.
Well, we'll see. I mean, if you would have told me at the beginning of last season and said some guy named John Parker Romo is the kicker of the San Antonio Brahmas, I would have been the same. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
for sure.
John Parker Romo was pretty spectacular, -1 kick. But yeah, so.
And a kick that I think he will always get remembered for in a Brahma uniform, and maybe that's not fair, but that's the way the kicker world works, right?
Right.
Nobody knew who Bass was until he missed kicks. Nobody knew who Scott Norwood was until he missed kicks. You just don't. You either have to be Justin Tucker, or you're going to get made fun of. Like those are the things. Brahma Bulletin. Checking in, one of our friends, one of our other Brahma related shows. Destroying sign is a win-win-win. Good for him, good for the Brahmas, good for the UFL, brings lots of eyes to the league. That is true.
Yep.
Kicking on the field, we don't know what any of that'll look like yet, but you're right. Somebody that has over 5 million views has now locked in on the UFL. That's good. That is good for them. That is good for the Brahmas. That is good news.
It is.
Yeah, the Brahmas have been very busy as far as roster movement this offseason. I think they've been one of the busiest teams in the UFL. They had the first official trade. I know that much.
Right.
Defensive backs. And they've got something like, I don't know, 5 or 6 quarterbacks in that quarterback room now. So I guess it's going to be, they don't want to end up in a situation where they were last year where, they went with 2 or 3, and one of them they knew was a project of the 3,
right?
And then ended up with an injury, and early on, and it really hurt them. So maybe a different approach.
Let's be fair. We all watched the Brahmas last year, and maybe they needed to be one of the more active teams in the offseason, certainly along that offensive line.
Yes,
you're right. They do have several quarterbacks. They've got Jack Cohen. We talked a little bit about that last time we talked. I'm still okay with that. I still need to see Jack Cohen with an offensive line. I don't know what you get when you get Jack Cohen with an offensive line. We didn't have that last year. Quentin Dormady now is in the fold. Several quarterbacks, like you mentioned. Lots of options for the Brahmas. And they had to be busy in the offseason because they had to bring all of the Houston Roughnecks over to San Antonio. They just, 10 had to be a pipeline, bringing everybody from Houston over to San Antonio with Wade Phillips.
Right.
And then there's the whole Wade Phillips thing, and we're going to have to get used to that, I guess. I don't know. I've made my point on that. I don't need to belabor it anymore, but I'm not excited about Wade Phillips. It's just not something that I'm like, yeah, let's see what we get. I'm like, no, we know what we get. We get a really good regular season, and then down near the end, we'll probably, fall apart. But you never know. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe he wins it. I don't know.
Well, I can say this for sure. Last season, we were the first podcast to have Hines Ward. I don't think we'll be the first podcast to get Wade at all.
I know Wade has already been on the radio around San Antonio promoting the Brahmas, and that's good. That's good stuff for the Brahmas. They need that. Wade's a great guy. Wade knows more about football than he's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know, which is not insignificant. I know a lot about football, but he knows more. Don't get me wrong. I respect Wade Phillips. I just don't know that I want him coaching the team that I'm excited about or that I'm following, because I've done that before and it did not go well. And Leo's done that before and it did not go well.
Yes, I have. So we're in wait and see mode.
Time is charm.
Maybe so.
Yeah. The one thing that is, I'm not bothered by all this, turnaround on the roster and all the signing. I think all of that's great. It's better to have more options than less. I like a lot of the guys that they brought over from Houston, from the Roughnecks. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think this roster is going to be more talented than it was last year. What's frustrating me is what you touched on earlier, is the schedule. As a season ticket holder, I am frustrated as heck that I don't know yet if I can make it to the games that I've paid for. I am very frustrated by that, as I know lots of people are, because I've seen it online. I've heard it. And I don't understand the reasoning for the delay on the release of the schedule up to this point now, where we're, end of January. We should already be able to circle the dates and the times on the games that we've paid for, and we cannot. And that is very, very frustrating.
The only thing I think could be leading to a delay in the schedule is you have venues, 4 of them brand new, most likely, with the 4 USFL teams that have come over, and now they need home spots up in Michigan. They already had some of that because Michigan did play up in Michigan, and some of those things. But that's got to be what's holding them up. It's just home venues, and one of them will hold up the schedule for everybody. You're right, James. Jim Renee says 3 USFL teams. Technically, it's 4. The Gamblers are the Roughnecks now, but they are still the Gamblers. But even that, they're still working. I don't know about their home situation. I've heard lots of conjecture. I think it's going to be Rice Stadium. I think that's what I've heard most often, but we haven't received any confirmation, I don't think, about that yet. Have we?
Yeah. I haven't heard anything. All I know is that we have 5 home games. I actually upgraded my ticket so I could be closer to Leo. So Leo, you better not sell your ticket. I'm kidding. You can do what you want.
I'm not selling my tickets. I just want to know when I have to be there, especially since I also have to be at Gunslingers games, and I need to. They have me on pins and needles here, wanting to know what my weekends are going to be like. It's crazy.
The Brahma Babe says it's concerning for many reasons. First off, the history, or lack thereof, because we've got one season, and even that,
Right.
But B, we share a season with the Gunslingers in the IFL, and I don't like the conflicts.
Yes.
We're just going to have to roll with that. That's tough. It is what it is. And that's what we've been worried about. And if you watched us last episode, you know that we had Dirty on, and he was thinking that around the 15th, the schedule was going to get released. The 15th.
Boy, were you wrong, Dirty.
The 15th went, and no schedule. So there's not a lot we can talk about because we don't have a schedule. We don't know what we're looking at. We see some player movement. The big story today, obviously, with destroying, I better say it right. He's got 5 million followers. So
yeah, we need to have him on the show, as Alex is suggesting.
Sure.
There you go.
In the comments.
Let's do it. I'm all about it.
I'll give him a call.
There you go. Get on that.
RC is definitely our go-getter. Yes.
Kind of a cool story. You should go watch his 12-minute video that he produced about signing. It's just kind of a documentary of his. He's doing sort of a documentary style thing about his journey from this point. But he was in Hawaii, and he had taken a day off, and he was gonna hike up one of these mountains, and he gets to the top of the mountain, and gets that text message that says, "Hey, we want you to sign with the Brahmas," which is really a big step for him because he hasn't been in football, and he's been doing his social media stuff and has made a name there, but he really wants to get back into football. So that's a big step for anybody that wants something like that. To finally have somebody give you the opportunity, which is all it is right now, is a big thing. And for that to happen to him as he's on top of this mountain that he's just conquered, that he's just kind of climbed up, was kind of neat. It was well produced, well done. He does his content very, very, very well, obviously.
Yeah, 5 million viewers or followers. You definitely know what you're doing.
Yeah. Right.
Putting together good content. So,
Jay Washington says, hopefully it's a Brahmas Roughnecks UFL championship. Hey, I'll take that.
That would be great.
They can come out of that USFL division. We can come out of the XFL division and go play it up in St. Louis.
Yeah, probably be St. Louis. We don't know for sure yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the rumor I've heard is that championship will be in St. Louis, but we'll see how that goes. So,
and still having the hub in Arlington like they did with the XFL, or that still isn't finalized?
That's what we hear. That is most likely. I think that's what they're. That's the rumor. I mean, that's the thing that makes the most sense is them doing that hub in Arlington and then sending the teams out. I think it was the best compromise to keep costs down, but still have teams playing in their home stadiums. So.
There was a rumor of 2 hub cities and splitting them up amongst those 2 cities, but that makes less sense to me than one location, one central location, because then you're paying double for, accommodations for medical staff and training staff and things like that they're all sharing. So,
yeah, absolutely. So that's really all we know about the Brahmas, and we're excited. We're paying attention. We're looking for UFL content. If you've been watching the playoffs, the NFL playoffs, you've seen lots of UFL commercials.
Yep.
A lot more than we ever saw anything XFL last year. So that's good news.
Good signs.
They're getting it out in front of folks. But
just for the love of God, give us a schedule.
Yeah. We need a schedule. We need it. I would like to see a schedule before the Super Bowl. I think if you let the Super Bowl go, and what's weird is I was thinking maybe they were holding it for the Super Bowl, but none of the media partners for the UFL are broadcasting the Super Bowl. Super Bowl's on CBS this year. It is the one media outlet that isn't part of the UFL. Fox and ESPN. I guess NBC isn't. They were at one time with the USFL big, but I don't know if they're making that transition over to the UFL. So we'll see. But yeah, let's get a schedule for the Brahmas.
Yes, please.
But now we need to shift gears because we were joined by Coach Cassie. I hope I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
From the 6-shooters. RC, you got to go out and be a judge for the 6-shooters.
Yes, right? It was so exciting. This is my
Let's bring Cassie on and your 3rd year. Let's bring her on. Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hello. Good to see y'all.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome.
That's great. Great to have you on. And we're excited about Gunslinger football. We've been talking about Brahma football for a second. We're going to put that in a box and talk Gunslingers and Gunslinger stuff. RC, and you got to be a part of your tryouts this year. How many ladies did you have show up for tryouts this year?
We more than tripled our number, and so that was really exciting. We actually, I believe we had 44 show up to the first night, and then 39 actually came back to do the real tryout. So it was really impressive. There was a lot of talent and great energy this year.
It's very interesting that there were 5 girls that were like, like they came the first night and they went, "Oh, this is way more serious than I thought it was."
They've got nerves. Yeah,
definitely. It's a very nerve-wracking process. As a dancer myself, I can definitely, I feel for them. But I tried to make it as fun as possible, and I think that overall the energy was very positive. And the girls who did come back, they all had a great time, regardless the outcome.
Yeah.
So for those of us that know nothing about dance or cheerleading other than what we see at sporting events, and also this will probably be helpful to some hopefuls for next season, as a panel, as when you're judging these type of events, what are the specific things that you look for when you have to look at 39 contestants and narrow it down to the a certain number? How many did you narrow it down to? How many was the final roster?
We were able to take 18 this year, which 18 is more than we took last year. But that's still, we had to cut a lot of great ladies. And really some of the things we looked for, mainly for me, what's most important, will this person represent six shooters and the gunslingers ultimately as a good role model in the community? And of course, most ladies there, of course they will. So at that point, it came down to their dancing and how ready they were for this year. I think we could have taken just about all of them, given them a year or whatever. But unfortunately, we're on a time crunch. And so in just a couple months, they're going to be on the field. So it was about how ready they are right now to be put in a uniform, ultimately.
So Cassie, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got connected with the Gunslingers.
So I have grown up dancing all my life. I've always loved professional cheerleading / dance, whatever. I've loved it. And I used to actually go to Dallas Cowboy cheerleader camps every summer. And I wanted to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. And so that's kind of how my love for pro dance began. And then I've been dancing forever. Grew up, did high school drill team. I did college drill team at Texas State University. And so that kind of got me in the San Antonio area. And then in 2022, I tried out for six shooters, just kind of as like a fun summer thing. I didn't know, I had no idea it would take me to where I am today. And I'm super blessed for that. But of course I danced for, I believe it was 3 or 4 games that we had that season that we actually got to dance at. And then I was super fortunate to be six shooter of the year that year. And things kind of just led from there. I didn't join the team again, but I did get a call one day in January from April, and she asked me if I would be interested in the position. And so I was extremely surprised, but also I knew that that was something that I could do. And so that's kind of how I got here. So blessed.
Yes. When I was judging, I noticed that, and for those who don't know, they come out like 4 or 5 at a time. That's how you're able to kind of narrow in on some of the girls. And then the first part was the Q&A. We ask them different questions. And I think that's the part that a lot of people miss out. Because to me, that's all new. This is my 3rd year, but I really felt like even in those 1 or 2 questions, you really got to know the person. You can tell their passion, who was their role model, things like that, why they wanted to become a gunslinger. They all were very excited to represent San Antonio and the Gunslingers. And that's very exciting to hear, 39 women who want so badly to be part of this organization. So I think that means a lot for the organization. It means a lot for the team. And I think it means a lot for you, Cassie, that you're their leader.
Yes, definitely. Being a professional cheerleader in any realm, a lot more goes into it than just, a pretty face and a good dancer. It's really, and a lot of people don't even have any idea what kind of amazing role models we put down on that field and how much time we spend thinking about, what could be better, when we weigh different people. But it's a lot more than just the looks or even their dancing. That's really not what's important to me. Really, that they are good role models, they're upstanding women of good character. That is what is important to me.
Well, and how about the veterans? How many veterans made the team? I'm sorry, Leo.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
How many veterans made the team?
5 veterans decided to come back this season, and we took all of them. They really all proved themselves to be extremely good women of good character. They made us very proud last season. They worked really hard, and so when they came back, we were just happy to have them back.
Well, I was going to say, taking the character over the actual dancing skills approach, that says a lot about the coaching and Coach Cassie, and then more kudos to you, because I mean, just watching this organization as we have as fans from the very beginning, and also watching that aspect of the organization grow, the 6 shooters, you could say it's just grown every single season and gotten just better and better exponentially. And like last year, we were besides ourselves, not understanding how the 6 shooters didn't win the award for the best cheerleading group in the NAL. I was like, James Munier, who was on earlier, I don't know if he's still on. He may have something to say about that, but it was just unbelievable how any other group could be better than what we saw on a regular basis. And the expectations are super high. And I think that says a lot for the leadership and the coaching that they're getting. And we're excited for you guys this year.
Thank you. That is the biggest compliment I think I could ever receive. I mean, I agree. I'm a little biased, but I think our 6 shooters are pretty great. And I know other teams, they also have a lot going for them. But something I'm really proud of is the women that we take into our team. They may not have ever been on a professional team before. They may not have even danced in college. A lot of them haven't. A lot of them have, though, especially this season. We have some pretty impressive resumes coming onto the team. But I'm really proud of that, just personally, that we can give those girls a shot and an entrance into the professional dance world, especially because they are just such good ladies with great character. That's important to me.
So I know we're going from one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I get excited.
Alex McSwain asks us on Facebook right now. He said, "Will there be cheer captains? How do you arrange your team? Do you set up some girls to be the leaders of the team? How does all that work?"
Yeah, so we don't have per se team captains, over the whole team, but we do have leadership positions, and so we have what's called sideline leaders, and those are the ladies that you see standing kind of in front when the girls are doing little dances on the sidelines. I don't know if you've noticed that, but while the game is happening, they sort of lead the girls in cheering, so they don't cheer for the wrong team or something crazy. So they there's like 2 or 3 of them. We haven't actually picked them yet this season, but they will lead the girls in those small routines and then also cheering. And then we also have some other leadership opportunities. Like we do a kids camp every year. And so we have about 4 kids camp leaders, and they're kind of in charge of that. And then we have some appearance leaders. So they're in charge of the girls looking good at appearances. So lots of leadership opportunities for every girl on the team. Basically, we can pretty much put every single girl in a leadership position if they want to be.
That's great.
So, yeah. Cassie, I was going to ask, I know we're going from one league to another. Does the IFL have different cheerleading requirements or different rules than the other league?
I'm not actually sure about that. I don't know of any rules per se. I didn't even know of any last year. But there definitely are. I know there's different teams in this league, and so I'm looking forward to kind of getting to know them. And I've been looking into it a little bit, but I don't know about any rules per se.
Okay.
I wonder if there's a rule, Leo, against the cheerleaders reaching over and batting a touchdown away.
You know what? I was thinking the exact same thing. We spent so much time together because that's exactly what crossed my mind. I was like, I wonder
maybe
if
they can affect play on the field. So on game day, Cassie, what is the most important thing for fans to know to interact with the 6 shooters? Because there's lots of interaction there. We're all right there on top of each other, figuratively in the Freeman Coliseum. As they interact with the cheer team, what do they need to know?
Totally. I mean, the cheerleaders are there for the fans, of course. But I just hope that they know that these ladies, they're not just wearing adorable two-piece outfits and dancing very well, but they actually are women of upstanding character. Many of them are moms, they're teachers, I believe we have one girl on the team who has her master's, or maybe a few. They're students, so they come from very diverse backgrounds, and they're not just cheerleaders. And so sometimes this industry can be confused, is probably the best way to say it. They can think, oh, these girls, they're cheerleaders, but they're actually not just cheerleaders. They have real jobs. They are moms. They are wives. They're real people. And they're really upstanding people. They're not just those things. And so I just hope fans understand that whenever they have the opportunity to watch them.
Well, I know that you guys have done an excellent job of your costumes compared to some of the other cheerleading teams. I've mentioned that before. So I just want to commend you on that, always being very respectful and graceful when you do your dance routines and the outfits that you do wear, because you do an excellent job representing women and football and sports and the Gunslingers. I just want to kudos to you, because we've seen, and I've talked about it on the podcast, about what these girls do. Some of the moves that they do, they're just not respectful. So I want to thank you for that, for keeping it very family friendly.
Yes, that's important to me too. I was blessed enough to, alongside April, we got to design the uniforms last year. And I hope they continue to be iconic, but they're very classy, and they embody everything that I believe that the Gunslingers value, family, and of course, they're red, white, and blue. And then they just, they have fringe on them. I just think they're perfect for the Gunslingers. And that is important to me, that the girls feel comfortable wearing them and dancing in them. And that, of course, parents who bring their kids to the game, they feel comfortable letting their kid take a picture with the cheerleader. That is really important to me too.
Sure.
Yep.
So you've been involved, this will be your third season involved with the Gunslingers, if I just did my math right. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So in the first 2 seasons, what are some moments, or a moment, that just sticks out to you, but either when you were dancing as part of the team or leading the team last year? Are there moments that just stick out that you're going to remember for years after this experience? Things that you'll carry with you?
Oh, I mean, last year, more than I could count. I mean, and then this year with the auditions, probably audition day this year was a surreal moment for me. Just to see where the team was the first year that I tried out for it. It was like in a little teeny studio with, I can't even remember how many girls showed up, but it was almost not a pro team audition at that point. You were like, wow, this is not quite what I was expecting. To this year, it was incredibly competitive. It was amazing. The women that showed up for it, it was encouraging. It was a huge compliment, is all I can say, to the Gunslinger organization, to myself. I mean, I was blown away. And then last season, I would say the first game was pretty life-changing for me, just to see something that April, I have to give so much credit to April. April and I worked so hard on to put together, to see it come together for the first time on that field was truly amazing.
April shares that sentiment. She says, we're so blessed to have Cassie, and we are. Of the girls that you had audition this year, and RC, you may be able to speak to this too, was there a story that came out of that really stood out? You got a chance to get to know these girls, to talk to these girls, and it wasn't just get up here and dance and, okay, we're going to mark down some scores and we'll put together. You actually spent some time and got to know some things about these ladies. Was there a story that came out of that day that just, like, this is impressive, and this is the kind of person, this is the kind of lady that we want representing the gunslingers and the six shooters?
I mean, oh man, there's so many of the girls. I wish I could just pull up their resumes right now. Truly impressive resumes. I believe one lady, she is actually 33 years old. I believe that's our oldest on the team. But this is something
Not
she's
old.
always wanted.
No.
And that's not even old, of course.
It's not old.
But she's a six shooter, like that. That's impressive. And she just brought great energy to the audition. And this is something she's wanted all her life. And, for women, 33, that's becoming time for families and things like that.
Sure.
And so just the fact that she's going to do this for herself before, that all happens, I'm impressed by that. And then I have to give credit to she's a fourth year this year. Maddie Davalos, she'll be going into her fourth year being on six shooters. She was on the team before this ownership took over. So she's actually been on the team longer than I've been with the organization.
I was going to say 4 years. That would make since the beginning, right? Like,
yes.
Yes. She was at the Rose Palace with us.
Yeah.
She was,
in the mud. Yeah.
So I got to give credit to her. She's awesome. And her attitude is the cutest. She's always pumped up about gunslingers, and she's always happy to be at practice, or tryouts this year were really hard. And so I'm glad she just has the cutest little personality. So I'm so glad to have her back.
It's like a little firecracker. She's got all this energy.
Yes.
She really is always happy.
Well, I want to say, as a show, we really appreciate the fact that you've allowed RC, who has been the cheerleader of the cheerleaders all the way through this process. From 4 years ago when we started all of this, the first question RC asked when we decided to jump on board with the Gunslingers is there going to be cheerleaders? And she has been that cheerleader of the cheerleaders all the way through this process. So for y'all to continue to recognize and invite her to be a part of things like tryouts and some other events that y'all have done with the six shooters, we really, as a show, the two guys on the show, I think both really appreciate that she gets recognized for just the spirit that she has for the team and for the cheerleaders, and the fact that you guys recognize that and bring her in and make her a part of that. Like, that's so exciting. That's so cool of y'all.
We love her. She's the best. She really, and I explained this to the girls the night before the actual audition. I said, listen, one of the judges coming tomorrow. She is the six shooters' biggest fan. So you got to dance good for her. So yes, we love RC, and the girls love you, RC, and we appreciate you for us.
Thank you. And just know, us as a podcast, we're here for you, and the guys are great, because I'm like, guess what, guys? We're going to give them flowers. They're like, okay. Guess what? We're giving them earrings. Okay. Yes. And we always like to sponsor a cheerleader. So we just want to help you guys as much as possible.
Yes, we love having you around, Miss RC, and for all of your sweet gifts.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will never forget 2 years ago, the first year in Freeman Coliseum, we decided in the last home game that we were going to give out flowers, and we divided among the three of us. We all divided up, and like, you're going to give it here and you're going to give here. And I was supposed to, and I can't remember her name, but I was supposed to give the coach at the time her flower, and she didn't see me. And so she was moving around, and I was following her all around the field during that halftime presentation. I felt like such a dummy. I'll never forget it. But I
thought it was great.
I thought it was great too.
Yeah.
That all starts with RC. RC's the one that does that.
They like to stay out of the limelight on game day. They're kind of doing background work and running around, but
for sure. Well, Cassie, anything we can ever do as a show for you or for the six shooters, we love you guys and what you add to the game day experience. It would not be the same. I realize there are some football fans out there that are like, who cares? It's not really a thing. It changes the dynamic. We have been a part of professional football leagues that decided not to spend money in that particular side of the game day experience. And it's missing. You can tell it's missing when it's not there. It's a part of football, and it's part of what makes the game fun and exciting cheerleading is a big part of that, and a dance team is a big part of that.
Yes,
And we're glad you guys are part of it, and we love our 6-shooters and the way that you represent everything around the Gunslingers.
Well, thank you. That's the biggest compliment. And yes, I'll just say, I think that the cheerleaders are probably, I mean, this is from my perspective. I think I could say professional cheerleading is probably just as popular as professional football at this point. I know that's a stretch, but I think so, at least in my circle. Professional dance is really a big thing. And so anybody who can tap into that, I think that's smart.
The Brahma Babe comes in with an idea that I'm going to tell you right now is not going to happen. She says, Phil and Leo need some choreography. And ladies, for a halftime dance with the gals. Nope. Nope. Absolutely not. Not going to happen.
Well, Brahma Babe actually was a cheerleader back in the day.
Yes, but I think she is way overestimating Philip and I's dancing ability.
Handing out flowers.
Just not gonna happen. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with Cassie. We are excited about the season coming up, and we can't wait to get to Freeman Coliseum on the 6th of April, and I'll be there again, getting started on the new Gunslinger season with your 6-shooters right there as a big part of that whole game day experience.
Yes, sir. We'll see you then. We're so excited. The girls, they're having their first big event this weekend.
What's that?
It's our Meet the Team event. And so it's just a 6-shooter only event, but the girls are going to get together for the first time and
very cool.
Learn some things about Gunslingers and the organization and kind of what the game plan is. So we're so excited.
Alex McSwain brings up a great point. He says Phil will be too busy calling the games, but that means Leo could still do it. You're right. There, Alex. Now that you point that out, that's great. You're right. That's correct.
Well,
thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Yes,
and we will see you there on the 6th in Freeman Coliseum.
Yep. See y'all then. Thank you.
Best of luck to you.
Bye.
Season.
Jay Washington says, can we get some of the 6-shooters on the Smoking Guns podcast? We need to work on that.
That's not a bad idea.
That happen.
Yeah.
RC, you have a task. Jay Washington has tasked you. One of our patrons, by the way, Jay Washington.
Love him.
Has tasked you with a goal. Get some of those 6-shooters to come on and tell us their story, because we talk about the guys and their stories all the time. Let's meet some of our ladies and get their story as well.
I could even do a mom-to-mom with some of the cheerleaders and their moms.
That'd be great. I think that's a great idea. We're programming.
My wheels are turning. They're spinning.
So we have, in about 10 minutes or so, DJ Myers is going to be joining us. He is part of the New Look Gunslingers.
Yep.
But maybe we need to talk a little bit about New Look Gunslingers, because this week, just yesterday, as a matter of fact, there was a new signing that got announced, Leo, for the Gunslingers.
Yeah.
Who did we sign?
Mr. Fabian Guerra.
Mm-hmm. Been around the National Arena League last year. He started out with Albany and moved around a little bit. I can't remember where he landed. I want to say it was in Carolina for the back half of the season after Albany fell apart, but that may not be right. If Jim Bernay is on, he'll correct me here in just a second, or confirm me here in just a second. But what I found interesting about Guerra's signing, Leo, is don't we already have that guy? He is a fast, elusive, shifty wide receiver and kick returner. Does that sound like somebody else you know?
Yes, it does. Very, very similar to someone else on the roster that has been on the roster. So number 5, Mr. Kali Rashad, definitely a guy with very similar skill set and abilities.
So I'm going to blow some people's mind right now. I may even upset some people, but I think with this signing, I don't think you carry both of these guys on your game day roster. And so does this mean that we may not have number 5 on the field?
I think you're way premature. Way premature on this.
Yeah.
Here's what I like about this, because I think they are. I think they're very similar players. I think their skill sets are the same, and I don't think you carry 2 of those guys on your game day roster. But and I'm not saying that means Kali's fixing to go away and we're replacing him or he's being replaced, but it does mean that with a challenge there, whoever takes that position, that kick return and slot receiver position, is going to be the best of 2 really good guys. Like they are 2 really, really talented guys. And now we get an option to get the best of those. They're going to compete for that role. But if you think we're going to carry both into the season, I don't think that's going to happen. These rosters are short, and you've got to have guys that can do a lot. And so carrying 2, come to camp and compete. Both of these guys have to do that. Kali has to do that. Garrett has to do that too. And the one that comes out of that competition, we as fans can be can feel good that, hey, we've got the best talent there is out there. We're not just resting on, hey, Kali Rashad has always been a gunslinger, and so he's going to be a gunslinger even if there's a better option out there. We talked a little bit last year about whether we were sticking with guys in the Gunslingers organization because they had always been here, and whether we needed to do something different to have different results. Well, we saw what the result was last year. We started out strong, but when other folks hit the market, when Albany fell apart, when Fayetteville fell apart, we didn't grab any of those guys or many of those guys because we wanted our gunslinger guys.
Right.
And we saw how that led. Those guys went to other teams, made other teams better. And I truly believe if last year had been a normal season where all the teams had competed all the way through the season, the Gunslingers would have won a championship or would have competed for the championship.
Yeah, I agree.
The teams falling apart and getting redistributed and us not taking the right role in that or doing the right thing through that time. Not being aggressive is what led to everybody else kind of outpacing us by the end.
Yep.
Well, now we're going to have the opposite issue. We're going to have the best guy in the position, but that best guy may not be a gunslinger guy. It may not be number 5. You may see the Gunslingers take the field for the first time without Kali Rashad. Are you okay with that?
I mean, yeah. Look, we talked about not being aggressive. The San Antonio Gunslingers have been extremely aggressive this offseason with their signings and bringing in talent. I mean, they're loaded. If you go back, just go to their Facebook page and just scroll down and look at the signings and look at the amount of talent that this organization, that Coach Tom Manas is going to have coming in to compete, to earn the opportunity to represent this organization their first season in the IFL. And I mean, it's going to be unbelievably competitive. The bar is very, very high because there's tons of talent at all positions. Besides quarterback, I think there's nobody that is a lock. I think everybody's going to come in.
I agree.
You think, or you said a few moments ago that you don't see maybe carrying Fabian Guerra and Kali Rashad both on the roster because of their similarities. Well, I don't know that that's necessarily true. I understand that thinking, but I think that Coach is going to get the best players. He's going to take the best players out there in camp. And
Fair.
I don't know how many wide receivers he's going to carry on the roster, but if it's 6 or 5 or whatever that number is, he's going to take the 5 best. And if those two guys are in the 5 best, skill set, whatever, they're in the 5 best, that's who's going to be on the roster. That's what I think the approach is going to be, has to be like, with this level of talent and this many guys that are going to be there. And it's like Coach said just a little while ago, come to camp and compete, because and it's nothing new to these guys. All respect to Kali Rashad, and I love Kali Rashad. He's my favorite player on the planet, continues to be. And I truly hope he is on the Gunslingers roster on opening day, but there's no guarantee. But Kali understands, just like every other football player understands, you can't relax ever as a professional football player. There is always someone out to take your job, always someone out to take that roster spot. And this is just more of the same, but this is going to be like what you normally see. It's going to be like to the 10th power, because that is the type of players that this organization has gone after and been very aggressive in getting, because they are determined to put the best team possible that they can out on the field, which means taking the best players. So Fabian and Kali, if they're two of the best, whatever number of wide receivers is
right,
allotted for that roster, they're both going to be on the roster. That's what I say.
I will tell you, I think part of the issue that we had last year, by the end of the season, was we had a team of guys, some guys, not all the guys, and I know that some of them are still here or some of them listen or watch the show, but I think as a team, we had a mentality, even as fans, that we were owed something, that we deserved to be handed something, because we had a really good start to the season, because of what our history was, because of the organization around us, and we had such a top flight organization in the NAL that we just kind of felt like we deserve to be in the championship. It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
And part of that mentality came from guys getting opportunities to play last year. God, I hope I don't make these guys real mad that they didn't earn, that they were given. We had guys on the team. I'm not talking about anybody specific. I could throw out names, but I'm not going to. But there were guys that played on our roster last year that were in the positions they were in, or in the position on the depth chart that they were in, because they were given that. They didn't earn that. And that bred a mentality all the way through the organization to me of, we're just going to be handed, like, we deserve to be in the championship game. We deserve these opportunities. Coach Tom Manas just doesn't work that way. You're going to have to earn it, and that is going to breed a mentality all the way through this organization of nothing is given to you. You have to go out and earn everything. And if that means that Kali Rashad, who is a player we all love, has to go out and earn his spot against a really, really good Fabian Guerra, then he's got to go out and earn that and earn his right to be on the roster or on the field. Jay Washington brings up, hey, it could be a great opportunity to have both of those guys. Can you imagine having them both deep on a kick returner, having a deep and a slightly less deep kick returner that are those two guys? Sure. If you have the ability on your roster, just like Leo was saying, if they're one of the best 5 or 6 guys in camp, yeah, carry them both. I just see their skill sets as being so similar that if you have one, I don't know that you need both. And so there may just be one slot, and that means one of these guys we may have to say goodbye to, and it could very well be a guy that has been a gunslinger since the beginning of the Gunslingers.
Imagine having 2 of those guys and having to game plan against that, or who you're going to cover.
That's true. I like both.
Put your best defensive back, which you're going to put your best defensive back on one of those guys. What are you going to do with the other one?
Right. Right.
So can you refresh the memory of myself and maybe others? What's the deal with having veterans? We can only have so many veterans on our team. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there is a cap on veterans, and veterans are defined as players who have 3 years or more of professional football experience. What qualifies professional football experience? If you got paid to be on the team. and we have a cap on that. We can only carry 7 of those guys. Thank you, Coach. I was stalling, hoping that somebody would give me the number. Coach gave me the number. So we can only carry 7 of those veterans on the roster. Everybody else has to be new, has to be guys that have not played professional football before. That's going to get tight. And that's one of the reasons why Fabian and Kali will probably compete for a spot, because those are both guys that fall in that veteran category. Speaking of guys that fall in the veteran category, we've got another guest already lined up and ready to talk to us. So let's talk to him now. He is sitting between a couple of jerseys that we're going to have to talk to him about. But the jersey he'll be wearing on game day will be a San Antonio Gunslingers jersey. His name is DJ Myers, and he's joining us now. DJ, guns up. What's up, sir?
What's going on, y'all? How you doing tonight?
Good, great.
All right. So tell us about these 2 jerseys we see over your shoulder before we do anything else. Tell us what these 2 jerseys are.
Well, sure. This is my office. This is just 2 jerseys in my collection. This Philly one, my bad, camera. This Philly one was my rookie year in the AFL in 2019. And then this Orlando one, my bad, camera. This Orlando one was my second year in 2021 after the COVID year. In 2020, had to obviously sit that year down. No teams were playing during that year, so took that time off. And then came back in 2021 for my second year with the Orlando Predators and the NAL. And those are just those 2. I have 2 other jerseys I got to frame now, and then I'm going to have another one coming from this year. So this is going to be my 5th year as a pro. So there's going to be about 5 jerseys on the wall here. I'm very blessed. But these 2 are very important to me because it was the start of my career. Obviously, my rookie year in Philly, just getting my feet wet in arena. And then Orlando was the year that I took off and kind of established myself as an upcoming player in the arena.
So you signed with the Gunslingers this year, and I have to imagine, given your recent history and your resume, you had other options, not just in the arena.
Yeah.
You played in the USFL. Am I wrong?
Yes, sir, I did last year with the Memphis Showboats.
So you had other opportunities and chose the IFL, the Gunslingers, and Coach Tom Manas.
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why, with those options, why was that your choice?
Absolutely. And I do it again. First off, well, there's many reasons. There's many factors. One of the biggest factors, everybody's, mission is to try to play outside. And, I played 3 years of arena before I got my opportunity to get back outside, greatly thanks to the things that I accomplished while I was playing arena. But the merger between the USFL and the XFL really messed up a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I was on a 2-year contract with Memphis, and that merger pretty much is the reason why I got released out of that contract. It was a really unfair situation. Last year with Memphis, I thought I should have had a little bit more opportunity to get out there and prove myself. I made the team in camp. I was behind some guys that, were on the team the year prior that, were proven guys, and, they were doing their job on a week in, week out basis. And I was just sitting there just grinding and waiting my turn and waiting my turn and waiting my turn. And next thing you know, it's 13 weeks later, and I never really got that shot. And, then on the way out the door, they were telling me, hey, we're bringing you back. We're going to honor your contract. And then the merger happens. The merger happens, and a lot of guys got screwed. Unfortunately, I was one of those guys. And I didn't know what the future was going to look like for me playing outside. I knew that I belonged out there. I proved that I was good enough to play out there. Obviously, I was on the team all year long. I wish it was under some different circumstances for me to get some more playing time. But 3 days after that release, Coach Manas gave me a call. And, I respected him so much because the first thing that he said wasn't like, hey, I need to get you down here. I mean, the first thing was, hey, how are you? How are you feeling? What happened? Are you okay? And he appealed to me more as valuing DJ the person over DJ the football player. And that was really important to me because when I was in the USFL last year, when you get to those kind of levels, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm just speaking to my situation that they don't really care about, where you come from, who you are, what you've accomplished, those kind of things. And, and not that I'm expecting, my ego to be stroked or anything, because I like to prove, I am who I am. But it was just really nice to hear from him and him to come at me that way and show me that he cares about me more than just DJ the football player. And that was how we started our conversation. So it happened like that. And then he kind of just, started to let me know about some of the things that were going on. Obviously, I haven't played for Manas, but we have history. He loves to talk about the championship that I lost against him in 2021 when I was with the Carolina Cobras and he was with the Albany Empire. And it's an ongoing thing with me and him. I like to give him a hard time too. And but every time we played, he was that coach that, at the end of the game, he'd come and he'd give me a hug, tell me I'm an outstanding player, I'm an outstanding man. And it was just always a respect thing between me and him. And obviously I know all the things that he's accomplished. And I'm from Austin. Well, actually, I'm originally from the East Coast. I'm originally from Virginia, but I've lived in Texas for the past 6-7 years. And I've lived in Austin for almost 4 years now. And, it's just a stone throw away from San Antonio. So with him going down there and him also hiring my offensive coordinator from Carolina and Coach James Fuller, who I have a great working relationship with. I won Ironman underneath of him, and he put me in a lot of great positions to be successful. It was really just a no-brainer. I wasn't sure if I was going to return to Arena, not because I don't love the game. I love the game, but I just wasn't sure, about my future as far as if I was going to get a chance to get back outside, or was this my sign to, maybe hang it up and, start a different career path. But I love the game way too much, and I love Arena way too much, and I missed it when I was in the USFL, going through all that, excuse my language, BS that I was going through when I was there. And I just was watching my guys every single week back in the Arena, just wishing I was down there playing with them. So I'm just so excited to get back and to be with guys like Manas and Fuller again, as well as just this amazing roster of guys that, I played with, against. It was a no-brainer. I'm so excited to stay in Texas this year, be close to home. Much support of people coming down and supporting me. It's honestly just a blessing. And again, it was just a no-brainer when me and Manas, we talked for probably an hour and a half, that initial conversation. And a lot of it was just about life, and less than it was about what the Gunslingers had to offer me. And the main reason why I chose the Gunslingers is because I wanted to get back in a situation where I felt valued. I felt the love. And I knew that the people that were around me had my best interest. And because when I have that, it allows me to be who I am instead of constantly, looking over my shoulder and feeling animosity and those kind of things. I need to believe the people that are bringing me in love me, trust me, and I'm going to show them why they should. There's been no secret here on our show that we're not a fan necessarily of the merger. We followed the Brahmas last year in the XFL. One of the things that I think we lose with this merger is that there's a lot of guys that lost opportunity, because with 2 leagues full of guys playing, you had a lot more guys getting film and getting an opportunity to showcase who they are and where they belong, because some of these guys don't belong in the Arena. Some of these guys don't belong in the USFL or the XFL or the UFL. Some of these guys actually belong playing on Sundays on teams. They just didn't hit the right opportunity at the right time, and they need to circle around and catch it again. Absolutely.
And the more guys that get those opportunities, the better. So
absolutely. And I wanted to be a pioneer for that. So many, and it's not just me, so many guys in the Arena deserve to be out there. And but what you find out once you get up there, and this was a big lesson that I learned, is that they don't know Arena football up there. Those guys are, they're NFL personnel. They're coached at the highest levels, and there's not a lot of Arena guys. There might have been 5 Arena guys in the entire league, including myself, up there. And frankly, they don't care. And, it really, it sucked but for me at the same time, even though I was going through what I was going through last year, I had so many of the Arena guys just constantly reaching out to me throughout the year, constantly encouraging me, constantly saying, DJ, we see you. It gives us hope. We know that we can do it too. And I would just continue to encourage those guys and tell them that they belong there too. I mean, I was there. I competed with those guys. There's tons of guys in the Arena that are just as good, if not better, than a lot of those guys that played Power 5 football, that were in NFL camps and all these things. I was the only Division II receiver on that roster in Memphis. Everybody else played Power 5 or high D1 AA. And I proved my worth. I proved my worth to fight, and that I was there. And, I made it through camp, and, and I just continued to fight. But, I don't like to blame anything. Things go how they are, but politics are a real thing, y'all. And the higher you go up, the worse it gets and the uglier it gets. And and a lot of guys don't get fair opportunities. And, I feel I was one of those guys. I mean, you can look at it as you want. You were there all year long, whatever it was. But the bottom line is that I poured my heart into that team every single week, did everything that they asked me to do. And I never got the actual fair shot to get out there and show them that I'm one of those guys that they favor. And, and that was just that. But, if I had to pull any bright spot from it, was just being a light and a pillar for the guys that were still fighting in the arena. And, and that's just kind of where I'm at now. I mean, my whole motivation in my first 3 years of arena was get out of arena, show that I'm better than this. I should be up at the higher levels. But now, and I don't like to use the term coming back down, but now that I'm re-entering the arena, I think my focus has changed now. It's not so much to move up, more it is just to prove I am who I say I am, and to inspire and influence the young guys coming up to show them what it takes to get out if that's what they want to do. And that's where I'm at now. I'm just ready to have fun, and just get back to just loving the game, because the USFL almost took the love of the game away from me. And I can't say that because I played this game my whole life at a high level, and it can get a little messy up there. So I know entering back into the arena with these type of people in San Antonio is just going to reignite that love for me. And it's going to allow me to play at a high level and inspire at a high level and mentor the young guys on our roster at a high level. And that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, that's awesome, DJ, to hear that sentiment from you. And I'm really glad that you mentioned earlier, you said that you love the arena game. We as a podcast haven't got a lot of opportunities because of the things you've just said about there not being a lot of guys getting opportunities to play at the higher level, if you want to call it that, or on the 100-yard variety of football professionally. You don't get a lot of guys making that jump. So you're one of the few that we've had a chance to talk to and interview that has played at a professional level, both on the 100-yard variety of football and indoors in the arena football. And you said early on that you love the arena game. Absolutely. What about the arena game that's different from your 100-yard variety outdoor football? What about it is that you love, and what about it is like the hardest thing as a receiver who's just coming out of college and maybe hasn't played the arena game? What's the hardest thing to adapt to?
Sure. So 2 points. One of the main reasons why I love arena football is the fan interaction. Okay. You don't get that outside. You don't get as close to the players. And I mean, we build personal relationships with the fans, and it's like a concert, it's just the entertainment, the fire of it is next to none. You don't experience that outside. I mean, yeah, you get the big crowds and all that stuff, but you don't get those fans right on top of you that come to love you, and you feel it so much more. It's just so much more electric. And that is one of the main reasons why I love arena football is just the fans. Okay. And if you can find a team with an amazing fan base like San Antonio, it just amplifies it so much more. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to about San Antonio, because I remember playing down in San Antonio when I was with Carolina. I remember coming down there and watching a game last year when my younger brother, who we could talk about later, when he was playing for Carolina last year, and coming down, and just the fan that's what I'm most excited about. That getting back to that and just interacting with the fans, and that's just so much fun. Now, as far as adjusting to the game, it's absolutely different. It's absolutely different. I always like to say it's a quirky game, right? The biggest thing is that for a receiver is that the routes that you run in arena are not like the routes that you run outdoor. It's two different skills. Okay. Whereas outside everything is, breakdown, certain types of cuts and things like that. In arena, everything's timing. It's hit. And you got to be in a certain place at a certain time. And you got to work that timing. And for me, transitioning in Philly, I like to say in Philly, I was the seventh receiver on a 7-man room. And obviously I had the athletic ability to be there, but I was having a hard time grasping how to run routes, how to read coverages, how to do those things that I didn't really learn until I got to Orlando. I mean, I learned them in Philly, but I didn't really grasp them and the game didn't start slowing down for me until I got to Orlando. And so that's the biggest thing, is just understanding that when you're running routes, and the IFL is going to be new for me. Okay. Because in the NAL and the AFL, it's predominantly, you only have one high motion, and it's predominantly man. You don't see a lot of zone. And in the IFL, we get a lot of, they're coming down, they're jamming the high motion, they're pressing off, and they're passing off to the safeties, and there's a lot of drop in zone coverages, and it's a little bit different. So I can only speak from my experience at this moment. It's going to be new for me, but at the same time, it's still arena football. I'm not too worried about it. I know I'm going to figure it out, in camp, and going to run with it because it's still competing. But that's the main difference. Is it's for receivers, it's in route running. It's in route running, it's in coverage identification, and it's understanding that you don't have time to sit down and break a route or do all these double moves or things like that. It's literally like you're running at this guy, you make one break, your speed turning into things, and the ball is on a rope right to you, and the best quarterbacks, and I've played with some good quarterbacks in arena, they're going to have, we have a good feel of where that ball's supposed to be when you come out of these breaks. And it's a beautiful thing for me, especially when I'm training the offseason thing. And I train with a lot of different quarterbacks, is that I want to see that ball halfway to me by the time I'm out of that break. It's a thing of beauty when you're coming out of that break and you flip your eyes back and that ball is like right there and you're just like, it's like, it's beautiful. So I have the best quarterback in arena football coming in, and I can't wait to build this relationship with Sam. Sam's another guy that I've known for a few years. I haven't played with him, but just arena football is such a tight knit community, and you get to know these guys. So we talk all the time. We were on the phone yesterday talking, and I'm just so excited to build that timing, that connection with him. And it's just a certain trust where he's just going to know I'm just going to throw it up because DJ's going to be there and he's going to trust me in these situations. And to answer your question, that's just the biggest difference, route running and coverage identification, because it just happens so much faster than outdoor football.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you.
Boys, I love talking football. So if you catch me rambling, I'm just going to
keep talking. We love it.
I will just talk about football, arena football, outdoor football. This is my first language. So go ahead and fire your questions away. We can talk all night.
Sure. So DJ, I have a question. So I know a couple of months ago, I did a mom-to-mom interview with your mom, and she came on and she talked about you. And one of the questions I asked her was to describe you in a couple of words. So I'm going to turn around on you. So in 2 words, how would you best describe your mom?
My mom? Oh, passionate. And that also describes me. Passionate, lover, fierce lover. And she's also a competitor. I mean, everything that I am and my brothers are, we are because of her. I mean, we get that from her. She is a fierce football mom. I was raised by her. She was a single mother. She raised 4 boys by herself. Her 2 younger boys turned into professional football players. And she can speak football the same way I'm speaking to you guys right now, because she has lived this life with me. She's walked this journey with me. She's been to 98% of my games. You know what I'm saying? And she probably never missed a game until I came out to Texas, and she still was making half of my games in college and most of the arena games. And so we get in arguments sometimes because she's like, why is this happening? Or why is this happening? And she's like, I don't understand this or that. And I'm like, Mom, it's just because she's like, I know football. I'm like, I know you know football, Mom. I know you know football. But there is a difference between, being a spectator of the game and watching your boys going through it rather than, actually being in the building and playing the game yourself. And that's just the one thing that, me and my brother constantly have to be like, Mom, pump your brakes. Cause when things like politics happen or things like that, her fierce mama bear side comes out where she wants to protect us and go off on these coaches and these GMs. And I'm like, Mom, you gotta chill out. You gotta chill out. This is pro football. It's a business. It could be an ugly business. I know you believe in the world. You believe in us more than anything. And, we're so supportive of it. But at the end of the day, we can only control what we can control. And there's a lot of things in football that are out of your control. And all you can do is just put your best foot forward and bet on yourself day by day. But she's passionate, man. She loves football. And she put that into us. She really, really, really loves this game more than just watching her boys. I mean, she just watches to watch. So I would describe her.
So tell me about the change of going from Virginia, where you grew up and you played football, and you move out to Wichita Falls, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hottest places on just the face of the earth to show up, and you show up for your first, summer, your first, off season, right there in the hottest part of the year. Was that a little bit of a wake up call? This is gonna take something extra.
Sure. So yeah, let me try to just take y'all down memory lane a little bit. So growing up in Virginia, it's not Texas football. I mean, I don't think anything compares to Texas football. I've been out here, and it's half the reason why I came out here was because I live a football life, and I wanted to live in the place where football rules. And that's why it's a big reason for why I'm here. But Virginia did have had great competition, has produced a lot of great athletes. I mean, me and my younger brother played on the top travel teams since we were 7 years old. And we played all the way through high school, these top travel teams all the way through high school. And then I actually went to junior college first. My junior college was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And this was just like a little valley town. You know, my school had 800 people. It was snowing half the year. It was freezing, but we were a top 5 junior college program. And that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But just to fast forward to my recruitment after, it was time for me to choose a school. I mean, I probably had about, I had over 10 offers, but I was actually coming off of an injury that scared a lot of Division I schools away from me. I was a Division I prospect out of high school. I wasn't academically qualified. That was my own doing. I got myself together when I got to JUCO, got my grades right, got myself more mentally right, and still had that Division I attention. Took an ACL tear my freshman year, and that scared a lot of D1 schools away. So I was highly recruited by Division II schools, highly, which was awesome. And but all of those schools were on the East Coast, and this is still a thing that goes back with my mom. I had one offer far away from home, and it was in Wichita Falls, Texas, to Midwestern State. And the rest of them were all East Coast, driving distance of home. And mom was like, why are you picking the one school 1,000 miles away from home? And blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't explain it at the time. It was just a feeling. It was just a feeling that I was doing the right thing. I actually had a junior college coach at the time. My freshman year, he left after my freshman year, and he got an assistant coaching job down at Midwestern. And he called me at the beginning of my sophomore year and said, DJ, said, I know you're a Division I receiver. He said, but if anything happens in your recruiting process, he said, just understand. He's like, this is a top 10 Division II football school in Texas, the best state to play football. He said, this is the closest thing to Division I that you're going to get. He said, just keep it in mind. And he gave me my first offer in August. And I was like, yeah, coach, I'll keep it in mind. Not thinking anything of it, not thinking I was going to go there or anything. Fast forward, my recruiting process ended up not going exactly the way I wanted it to go. And I broke it down to 3 schools out of like 15. And and Midwestern was my last visit. And I did that on purpose because I had a feeling I was going to like it more than the other schools. And so I went out there, and this was actually, so this would have been 2015 December time, right before we went into 2016. I'm late in the recruiting process. I mean, school starts like January 14th. I committed to Midwestern on like January 8th or something like that. Wow. I literally was like, I went and visited on like a Thursday, flew home, and then flew back out like on Tuesday, and was like enrolled by the end of that next week or something. It was like, wow. It happened so fast because I was waiting, because there was Division I schools that I was on the fence about. And there's just, the recruiting process is insane. And again, that's a story for another day. I'd love to talk to you guys in person about that. So, but Midwestern, when I visited there, it was a no-brainer, man. I mean, I love my alma mater. I rep it. A lot of people don't know Midwestern State outside of Texas. So when I go back home and stuff, and like, where'd you go to school? Midwestern State. They're like, huh? Like, and even with my coaches in the USFL, when they're like, Midwestern State, where's that at? And I'm like, the whole time you guys don't even know this is like a top Division II school that we're competing nationally year in, year out. When I was at Midwestern, we went 19-4 the 2 years I was there. Wow. Like, I only lost 4 games in 2 years. And we were in the national playoffs every single year. My senior year, we went 10-0. We were the number 4 team in the country, number 2 passing offense in the country, and had 15 NFL teams at my pro day. Like, so that was a big reason. When I went there and I saw the facilities and I met the training staff, the strength coaches, sat and talked to the actual coaches, it was just a no-brainer that this was the school that if I had to go Division II was going to give me my best shot to make it to the highest level. And
I could be wrong, but Midwestern State, Wichita Falls used to be good enough for the Dallas Cowboys to go do training camp at.
Yes, sir.
Before Jerry started taking them out to California. They used to go to Wichita Falls and do it there.
Absolutely, which is an accreditor or attributor, if I'm saying that right, to why our facilities are so nice. Mm-hmm. Because the Cowboys used to be there, and obviously, they made money off of that, and they fed into the football program. I mean, our locker room there is a NFL locker room. It's a $1 million locker room. It's a beautiful locker room. You don't see things like that in Division II or even some small Division I schools. And so just beautiful facilities. It's a town of 100,000 people. It is a college town. And to be honest with you guys, when I first got out there, it was a culture shock because I had never been to Texas. I'm literally from DC metro area, and I'm a city boy. And I just knew that I grew up, just knowing that Texas was the king of football, and I wanted to go to a place where football ruled, because that was who I was and that was my lifestyle. And so I got out there, and I just remember in my first month or two, I hated it, because Wichita Falls is flat land. Like, you go up there, and I just remember getting dizzy one day, just looking like it looks like the earth just falls off. And I was just I just get dizzy. I'm just so used to seeing more like greenery and city. And so that was a huge culture shock for me when I first got out there. And you spoke about it being hot, but I got there in January. And when I got there, it was 20 degrees and snowing, dude. So I was like, I thought this was Texas. I thought this was Texas. What is this? So it didn't get hot, but then when it got hot, it got hot. All right. And
it gets really hot.
I
realized down here in South Texas, we know about heat. I'm going to tell you, Wichita Falls, for whatever reason, feels hotter than the hottest day in San Antonio. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just nothing around. It's kind of.
No, man. You have a great point. I just remember when we went into to my first fall camp after spring ball, because spring ball was freezing the whole time. I'm like, I thought this was Texas. It's cold out here. I don't get it. And then we went into summer, and it was like, all right, we're just going to flip a switch. We're going to go from 20 to 120 and 140 on the turf. And I'm like, what is going on? So I remember I actually melted through 2 pairs of cleats during camp. Melted.
Wow.
Completely just melted off the bottom. Absolutely insane. And your feet are just getting blisters, and I'm just like, man, this is insane. So Texas heat is different, but hey, man, it builds character. I'll tell you about that. But there's a reason why a lot of Texas high schools practice in the morning before school. Yep. Because by the time you get to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you can't go out. Not for kids, it's way too hot. And but we didn't do that. We would do our workouts in the morning, but we were out there at 3:30 on that turf. And the famous coach that actually just retired from Midwestern, Billy Maskell, he was there for 27 years. He's one of the most winningest coaches in Division II history, the most winningest coach in Midwestern history, had 17 straight winning seasons. Great man. He actually just stepped down and retired, but he did not care how hot, how cold, this dude was old school. So he didn't, we constantly got the analogies. I remember back in the 80s and the 90s, and we'd be going 3 a days, and he talks just like that. So we'd be going 3 days and all this stuff. And I'm like, so he always say this generation of football players are soft and all this stuff, because, we're only doing, 2.5 hour practices and all this stuff. So, but bless his soul, man. He's a great man, and he gave me a great two-year stint at Midwestern, gave me an opportunity to go pro. He believed in me, pushed me all the way into my NFL tryouts, my pro day, and supported me all the way through arena. He just check on me. Hey, I see you. You're always knew you do good things. And so great experience in Midwestern. Like I said, I love my alma mater. I hope someday I can be in a position where I can donate something back and get my name on something at the university, a project or something. Even though I was there for 2 years, really loved it there.
One of our listeners, Alex McSwain, says, any teams or players you're excited about playing against this year? That you're ready to go see them or line up against
so my
them?
favorite team to play against in the NAO was the Jacksonville Sharks. And
they're coming with us. So
exactly. I can't wait. I'd say actually they're not on our schedule. But maybe we'll see them in the playoffs. The Shark Tank
championship time.
Yeah. Shark Tank is absolutely my favorite arena to play in. Absolutely. By far one of my favorite venues to play in. They have an amazing fan base there too. I'm talking 10,000, 15,000 people of just a sea of red. And I actually had my first breakout game with the Predators playing in the Shark Tank against Coach Fullers at the time. He was the head coach there. That was my breakout game. I had 5 touchdowns in the Shark Tank, and I love playing on the road, because there's something so much power about just silencing 10,000 people, 15,000 people because of what you're doing out there. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it's awesome to come home and do it in front of your own home fans. But for me, even when I was young, I thrived, and some of my best games have always been on the road, because I thrive in those environments, man. I love the hostility. I love the fans chirping at me. You're not this, you're not that. I love all that, because I'm like, all right, you're about to see. You're about to find out. And, and then you get to go home and celebrate with your home fans and come home and have a few games at home and get them all hype, and then it just wants them to support you more on the road. So I'm a big road warrior, big time road warrior. And so I do look forward to playing on the road. Another team that I'm looking forward to playing, definitely looking forward to playing the Rattlers. You know, they're an IFL staple. They have a great coach up there, great organization up there. You know, gotta go let them know who I am. And as well as Vegas. You know, Vegas will be fun. You know, hopefully play against them as well as have a championship game there. So those are just a few teams I'm looking forward to seeing again.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Since you've
said hi too.
Oh yeah, she did. Yeah. DJ, since you've been with the Gunslingers, what has surprised you that you've found so far with the organization? And then also, I know they've got their brand new facility down there. What's your impression on what they're doing there for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So another reason why I wanted to come to San Antonio with Coach Manaus is because I consider myself a very high professional. And what I mean by that is that I need things to be professional off the football field. The way that we're handling the team, the way that we travel, the way everything as far as football operations needs to be run. I don't care if we're in an arena, it needs to be run like the NFL. And because that, you know, we're pros, we deserve that first off, but also I thrive in structure. All right. I'm not going to throw any teams under the bus, but I've been in some organizations where we didn't have as much structure. And it's really hard. It's really hard to operate in those kind of things, especially me, because it just doesn't sit right with me. I'll have to speak up in those kind of situations, not in a negative way, but just like, hey, like my guys need this. Like we need some certain things if you want us to be performing on certain levels. And so with San Antonio, first off, the ownership, next to none. I mean, absolutely just great men, great families, and high professionals. They care, and they hired the right man to get the job done. And he, you know, Manaus has been on every single level, and he's been a player himself. And that's vitally important in this game when you've played the game yourself, because you know what the players need because you've been in their shoes. And so he is going to bat for us. The ownership is going to bat for us to give us everything that we need to be ultimate professionals, to perform on high levels. And that was very big for me. Like I wanted to know, like, all right, well, where are we going to be living? How are we going to be eating? You know, are we going to be paid on time? Or all these things are vitally important to football operations. All right. And if these things aren't rolling the way that they need to roll, then you're going to get backlash from your team, from your players, from the guys that you're asking to go out there and perform on a high level. Excuse me. So with Manaus, yeah, with the facility, I actually got a chance to go down there and see it last month, and it's not done yet, but the vision, like when I walked in and me and Manaus were talking about it, it's like he was painting the picture for me and I could see it. And no arena team has this, man. No arena team has their own facility to call home. You're usually practicing at a high school, out in some baseball field, or you're practicing in, you know, or you're renting out some, you know, sports performance facility, sharing it with all types of different sports. This is catered to us. This is Gunslinger Nation. We're not sharing this with nobody. And only 25 elite guys are gonna have access to this. Yeah, I know we're gonna have 40 in the camp, but the old saying goes is that, yeah, we have 40 in camp, we have 40 dogs in camp, but we only got 25 bones. So the bottom line is that we got to get down to that 25, and the 25 that we get down to are gonna, you know, they're gonna reap the harvest of the work that Manaus and ownership is putting in right now. And I'm just so excited for this facility, man, to call home, just to be there, to have, you know, a locker room with our nameplates on them, and to have our own field, and to have the coaches' offices in one central location, to have our meeting rooms in one central location. All of that is so vitally important to our success. And there's really no excuse. I mean, when the ownership and the coaches give us all this and you build an elite roster, we have to deliver. We have to deliver. And me as a captain, I have to make sure that I am making sure the guys are aware of this, and I'm leading the way, and I'm letting them know how grateful we are to have this, and to not take it for granted. One thing I want to let you guys know, this might be a little bit off track, but like, you know, a lot of young guys in arena, there's this notion that, you know, they can get a little uneasy. They can get a little uneasy, and they're like, well, I gotta get out of here. I gotta send my film out. I gotta get to the CFL. I gotta get here. And, you know, one reason why I felt I was so successful in getting out was because I told myself in Orlando, but especially in Carolina, after I felt like I should have got moved up after Orlando, was that, okay, if I'm really sitting here saying that I'm a dominant player, I'm one of the best players in this league, then it needs to look that way. I can't just be an average player. I can't just, get 10 touchdowns. I was like, I need to dominate. And the film has to look like, what is this kid doing here? And in order to do that, you have to be what you say you want to be. So this is what I'm going to tell the young guys when I get there. You're saying you want to be in the NFL, you want to be in the UFL, you want to be in the CFL. Well, then you need to carry yourself, prepare, and do everything like you're already there. Because once you get there, you got to be ready. You can't just get there and be like, oh, now I'm here and I got to figure it out. If you want to be an NFL player, you need to prepare and carry yourself like you're already there. And if you really think you're an NFL player, then this arena level, you better dominate. You better absolutely dominate. And I told myself that. I remember looking myself in the mirror and saying, I feel like I'm an NFL player. I'm going to prepare like it. I'm going to wake up at a certain time every day. I'm going to train at a certain time every day. I'm going to put the certain foods in my body. I'm going to watch this amount of film. I'm going to meet with coaches this amount of times. And I'm going to lead my team in this certain way. And I'm going to hold myself to a certain standard and a certain high character. And if I do these things, I'm going to dominate. And I was able to do that. I went first team all league in Orlando. And then I went first team again and then won the Ironman. And it ultimately gave me my opportunity to move up. So when I get to San Antonio, I'm going to get a chance to stand in front of the team and speak directly to these young guys. The same, I'm 29 now, I'm turning 30 soon. And I still feel great. I feel better now than I did when I was 24. But what I'm going to tell these guys is that if you really feel that way, you can't be bitter about being on this level at this moment. You need to accept that if you really think that that's who you are, then you better show it here as a gunslinger day in and day out, and it better translate to the game field, because good enough or average or, oh yeah, he did a couple great things, it's not good enough if you really want to move up. So that's going to be a message that the young guys are going to get from me early.
Good stuff, man. Yeah.
Very good. So one of the things that we love about being on the podcast is really interacting with the players. So tell us a little bit about your family. Are you married? Do you have any kids? Just so that the fans can feel more connected to you.
Absolutely. So I'm in a committed relationship. I have an amazing girlfriend. We've been together for almost 4 years. She's a nurse. She's a cardiac ICU nurse. She's a very smart cookie. This is a girl that flew through nursing school with flying colors. She's extremely career-oriented, career-driven. We push each other that way. She's been extremely supportive of my career. We've been together before I left for Orlando. So she's seen me through Orlando, Carolina, Memphis, and it's not easy. It really is not easy. There's been disagreements, there's been hard times, but the bottom line is that she supports what I do. I support what she does. She knows that I do it at a high level, and I know what she does at a high level. And we just know that if we continue to support each other's careers and continue to just feed into each other with that support and that love, then we're gonna get to where we want to ultimately be as husband, wife, mother, father. And so that's just where we're at right now. So we're almost 4 years in. I'd say we're getting pretty close to that moment, but we're still just building some things that are important to us in our personal lives and as partners. And it's so important for me someday to I desperately want to be a father someday. I desperately want to have my own kids. I want to be a married man. And my father wasn't in my life. And my mother played both roles, and she gave me all the love, and my brothers were a big part in raising me as well. And so just for that reason and many other reasons, it makes me just want to be an outstanding father, an outstanding man, and an outstanding husband someday. And there's no rush in these things. I feel like we're learning and we're growing every single day. And if we're talking the next 30, 40 years of our life, I think we want to make sure that we enter it the right way. And I think these challenges of, me being in many different cities and her holding down the fort, we have a house together here in Austin, and like things like that just goes to show, our strength and all the things that we've endured. So, if I'm a lucky enough man, she'll stick with me through this season in San Antonio, and she's very happy that I'm right down the street this time and not leaving her to go across the country. And she'll be in the stands and she'll be supporting. She's a huge fan of me. She loves football. She likes football. I wouldn't say she loves football. She likes football. She was a college soccer player. She loves watching me though. So like, she won't just like sit there and watch football, but she always likes to say, she's like, I only like football if I'm watching you. You know what I'm saying? But she loves to watch me and support me. And I'm very grateful for that.
Well, we really enjoyed this time, and we want more
Yeah.
time, another time with you. I got a question I got to ask you before we let you go. You grew up in the D.C. area. Does that make you a Redskins fan?
Born and raised, and I'm sorry if I offend you guys, but I am everything DC sports.
I
man.
liked you so much.
I love
liked you
boy.
so much.
Hey, I'm loyal to the soil. I'm loyal to the soil, man. I'm Redskins, Nationals, Capitals, Wizards, all the way through. I don't change up on my city. You know, I like
I
to
do
say
the same thing.
incognito here in Texas and not letting many people know what's going on with me, but
I respect that.
I'm loyal to a fault with my Redskins / Commanders, man. They've broken my heart pretty much my whole life. But the organization is it's finally looking up in the right direction. We're finally about to hit our ascend, I think. So
I am the same way. I was born and raised in Dallas, so Stars, Cowboys, Mavericks.
See, listen, that's fine though, because you're from Dallas. I can't tell you how many Cowboys fans are in the DC area that are not from Texas. I can't stand that. Like, if you support the team where you're from, I got no issue with you, man. Like, cool, you're a Cowboys fan. You're from Dallas. You're from Texas. Awesome, good for you.
I am a diehard Cowboys fan.
Don't say nothing about the Cowboys to me, man. I'm not trying to hear that.
I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, but these two will tell you who is the fan base that drives me most crazy in the NFL.
Dallas Cowboys fans.
Dallas Cowboys fans.
Because that's the right answer. It doesn't matter whose favorite team you have. The right answer of the fan base that drives you the most crazy should be the Dallas Cowboys fans.
And that's me too. And not just because it's the Dallas Cowboys. It is because of the fans, man. And it's not even that you guys are – it's just – there's a little delusion going on over there from year to year, you know.
Hey, look, the idea that, I've talked to a guy recently that's a big Eagles fan, and he's like, why do y'all think you're going to win the Super Bowl every year? And I was like, I can't imagine being excited about a team that I didn't think had a shot to win the Super Bowl every year. However, Cowboys fans drive me crazy because nothing is ever good enough. You've got a really good quarterback in Dak Prescott. You've got really good talent all over your team. You have a piss-poor owner, but other than that, you've got lots of pieces. But, Dak's a bum. We need to get rid of him. Man, there's 15 teams in the NFL that would love to have Dak Prescott line up behind them right now. They're there.
The Cowboys have a great roster, but this goes for every team in football at every single level, man. It starts at the top.
Starts at the top. You're absolutely right.
That's the bottom line. It starts at the top. You're only as good as the people that are putting you in positions to try to help you be successful. And if they have all these conflicts and issues and things going up at the top, it's going to trickle right down to the field of play. So,
well, DJ, even though you're Redskins or Commanders or whatever they're calling themselves this year, even though you're the fan, we want to have you back. Later in the season, as you get into things, as you guys are just kind of wrecking the IFL and showing them how it's supposed to be done. We want to have you come back in and spend some time with us. This has been great. But you're right. We could do this all night, but we don't have all night. So we want to let you get to the rest of your evening. I know you worked today, so you're probably ready to go and decompress a little bit. We've enjoyed this time, and I can't wait to watch what you do on the field in the red, white, and blue of the Gunslingers. I've watched you with other teams. I'm ready to watch you for a team I can cheer for.
Absolutely. I'm so excited, y'all. God bless you all. I can't wait to get down there and get after it. This is the year, man. I mean, I'm a big component of be where your feet are at. And I also want to let you guys know, we speak a lot about the things that, I've achieved in my past, but I am a big, big advocate of you got to do it again. It doesn't matter what you did before. If I say who I say I am, I got to do it again. It's only going to be as important as what I do for the Gunslingers. So I don't like to boast too much about, the things I've accomplished in the past. I'm just ready to do it in the red, white, and blue this year and prove to you guys I am who I say I am and who you know me to be. So God bless you. Thanks for having me on the show. And let's do this again. And I can't wait to get down there and see you guys.
Excellent.
Thank you, DJ. We're looking forward to it.
Guns up. He is DJ Myers, and he is part of the San Antonio Gunslingers. Leo, you talked earlier about other than Sam Castronova at QB1, there might not be anybody else that's like locked in. Everybody else. I kind of feel like DJ is one of those guys that, he may not be locked in, but he has that inside track, I think, a little bit.
The inside track for sure. Look, before we even talk about any of that, I got to say something right here, right now. DJ's not on with us right now. I got to pay a compliment. I'm going to pay a compliment to DJ, but even so, I hope Miss Tina Myers, her dad, is still with us. She popped in a little while ago to say how proud she was of her son. I gotta give that lady props and congratulations, because that interview that we just had right now with DJ Myers, I think in the many years that we've been doing this, nothing against any of the other players we've had. We've loved them all. We've been very lucky to have the guys we've had on. But you want to talk well-spoken, intelligent, great attitude, displaying just the tremendous articulation, but also just displaying tremendous leadership capabilities just in the way he portrays himself and the way he speaks. What Coach Tom Manas alluded to earlier about him being a leader. I was like, you know what? Passionate, as Loli says here, super knowledgeable. That was just outstanding. I was super impressed with DJ and that interview and just his whole attitude on everything. Top notch. And that is a great compliment to his mother. Congratulations to you. Yes. Great job with that young man. I'm very impressed with the last, 30, 40 minutes we've had on this show.
About 40 minutes. We've done 4 years. This is our 4th year of this show. We did a year of the Command Post podcast. So we have interviewed lots of players, and we have learned over that time that good football player does not necessarily translate into good interview. There have been some guys that I absolutely love to watch on the field, and they're great guys, and we get them here. And again, I'm not going to say any names or anything like that, but we get them here and it just kind of falls flat. And so good football player does not always mean good interview, articulate, passionate, well-spoken, able to communicate. Communication is this. This is communication. That's why I love it so much. I'm a big fan of communication. And that's why I love doing this podcast and doing what I do for a job. I love to communicate. Not everybody feels that way about communication. They are passionate about other things. But DJ is a special guy. He is going to be a leader in that locker room. If you don't know that, you do now. Or if you didn't know that when you logged on here, you just got to hear him, watch him, and spend some time with him. And I think that's somebody we'll have back multiple times throughout the season, as many times as we can get him and bring him in the fold. That was a great interview, and there's more of that. Like, we could have kept going. We have other things we want to take care of, but we could have kept going through that. Great guy.
And you can always go back and check out the mom-to-mom interview with his mom, because that was a great interview too.
Yes, go check out that mom-to-mom interview with Tina Myers Haddad. And for that matter, go listen to all of those. Yeah. I see the numbers, folks. I know that some of you folks see mom to mom and you're like, I'll skip it. Stop that.
That's good stuff.
If you're part of the Gunslinger, the Smoking Guns posse, you should be just as excited about those as you are a regular show or an interview with one of the players. These moms have worked years to get these guys to this position. They deserve a moment where they get to brag on their son or tell you what they love about their son. And you learn a lot about players. We've had 2 already this season, one with Miss Castronova, one with Tina, about DJ. Go listen to those. I see the numbers. I know that you guys don't listen to those like you listen to everything else. Stop that.
You're missing out. You really are.
You are.
For sure.
So, I'm excited about Gunslinger season. I really am. It's getting closer. We're 61 days out now. I check in every week with Brandon. If you're not doing that, you should. Ralph Judkins and Coach Tom Manas put together that show. If you're in the San Antonio area, drive over to the pizza place there in Shirts. I can't think of the name now. Matt Gina's?
Something like that. Yeah, the pizza place. Yeah.
Go drive out there and participate in the show live. or jump online and listen to them. They're doing a great job. They're giving you updates on rules. If you're not sure what some of the rules are, they're giving you updates on rules and have a rules segment. It's
A lot of good
worth
information.
your time. It's worth your time.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Matangas. There you go. Thank you, Jordan. It's a bit of a distance from me and Lolis, but we've been talking about wanting to make it out there. We may try and make it out there to the next one. Good stuff, though. Definitely got to watch that branded show for sure if you're not already.
So when he started doing branded, I really kind of felt like we would have less not contact, because I still have pretty good contact with Coach, but that he wouldn't want to double up his time on air. He's got a lot of things to do. He now does a weekly show. So I was like, well, now that he's doing a weekly show, he's not going to come to the Smoking Guns that often. That gives us an opportunity to talk to some players and talk to some other folks. But we won't see much of Coach because he's doing his own thing and he's getting his message out there. So, surprise, today I get a message from Coach or through somebody else that says, hey, Coach needs to talk to you. He's like, hey, I need to come on there. It's been 3 months and I want to give Smoking Guns Posse an update on where we are 3 months into this thing and just kind of a state of the team address. So we're going to do that here in 2 weeks. We're going to have a show on February 12th, and we're going to bring Coach Manas on, and he gets as much time as he wants. If he wants to sit there the whole 2 hours of the show with us and talk about what's going on with the Gunslingers, we're going to do that. He gets all the time he wants because he's Coach Tom Manas, and that's the way we do things. Been wanting to go over to Batangas, but it's Leo's fault, she said, and it is, and not his fault, but
yeah, I've been dealing with some health issues, but I'm getting better.
So on February 12th, we're going to have Coach Dominos scheduled to join us again for as long as he wants, and we're going to talk about Gunslinger football. If you're one of our Brahmas folks, we'll talk about the Brahmas, but I don't think it's not going to be the main focus of the show because we're going to have the head coach on. I promise if we ever get Wade Phillips on here, we won't talk a lot about the Gunslingers that day.
Okay, deal.
We're going to have the head coach on here. But there's even more news. We teased this and talked about it a couple of weeks ago. There is a jersey, fan jersey for the San Antonio. Oh, where did it go? It's
the big reveal. Yeah. The big reveal.
Drum roll, please.
You asked for it. We're bringing it. There is now a Smoking Guns podcast fan jersey.
Roar,
and we are excited to roll this out. Those of you that are with us, the 13 or so of you that are with us, and the others that are watching later are going to get an opportunity to see it for the first time. And we're going to tell you how we're going to do this. So here it is. Here's the drum roll. Give me the drum roll, RC. There it is. Your Smoking Guns Podcast 2024 fan jersey. It's great. Jordan does a great job on all of these. He designed this one for us. It has the perfect mix of Brahmas and Gunslingers. It's all there, and it can be yours.
That's right.
We are going to hold pre-orders for the next 2 weeks. In fact, between now and the next time we meet on the 12th, when Coach comes on the show, we're taking pre-orders. It's $40. We will set you up with your jersey. However, if you are one of our patrons right now, already signed up, already been supporting the show, we don't need your money.
Nope.
But we do need what you want on the back of it, because for those folks, we're going to take care of your jersey and we're going to have them customized with your name on the back of them. So you need to go to patreon.com or send an email to gunsuppodcast.com and tell me what gunsup@gmail.com. Send me sizes and what you want on the back of it. That is only for our patrons. If you're like, man, I want a customized jersey, maybe when we do this again later and you're a patron, you'll get that opportunity. But we can only do so many customized jerseys, and we've talked about it and decided that those folks that we're going to customize jersey for are going to be our patrons and, of course, ourselves. We're going to get customized jerseys. But we're taking care of our patrons. Everyone else, you can pre-order between now and February 12th. It is $40 to lock in your jersey. We have PayPal available. You will email me at that address, GunsUp Podcast, GUNSUP, GUNSUPPODCAST at gmail.com. That was our very first email address before
that's
the
why
Z
that's why
was
it's
even a thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And you're gonna email me there. You're going to pay for your jersey up front, and we're gonna put you in. If you don't like to pre-order things, you can wait. You can wait until the jerseys come in. We're going to order a certain amount of every size that we can sell after they come in. They're going to be more expensive. They're going to be $45 or $50. I don't think we've set that price point yet, but they're going to be more expensive, and we're going to run out of sizes really fast. Like those 2XL, 3XL, 4XL guys that always need those big jerseys, the me and Leo guys. Those are going to go fast because we're not going to order a ton of those. We don't want to keep a ton of them on hand.
Right.
So if you're wanting one of these jerseys, the best way to get them is to pre-order. It's going to say bang, bang across the shoulder, just like you're seeing here on your screen. If you're listening to us, then go to our Facebook and you can see the graphic that we're showing right now. I will post that right after the show is done. This is your opportunity. We will only do a limited run of these. We will do the pre-orders. We will take care of our patrons, and we will order just a handful of each size beyond that. And once they're gone, they're gone. These are marked with the year. So it's not like we're going to reorder these halfway through the season, because halfway through the season, it's not going to be 2024 by the time you get them.
Right.
Our expectation is that the jerseys will be in before the games kick off in March and April, both the Brahmas and the Gunslingers. James Palmer, great question. You said customize. What can be customized? Just curious. All we're going to do on customization is just that for our patrons only, just that nameplate section. We can put your name on them.
Instead of bang, bang, you could put something different, your name or whatever you want.
Like I'm going to make them fit Higginbotham on there.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be really small type, but I'm going to make them get Higginbotham on there. There are other customization options. In fact, Jordan just reached out to me and said, hey, if we wanted to offer it this way, we could do that too. There's a lot of moving pieces, and we're just going to say, hey, this is the jersey. This is what we're going to go with. So for our patrons, they get an opportunity to customize that this time around as a thank you for us for being a part of the patrons. Everybody else, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at this
bang,
jersey
bang.
that you're seeing in front of you. Bang, bang. And we're excited to offer this to you. Pre-order. Leo and I were talking about this beforehand. It does not make sense to wait on them.
No.
You're not guaranteed your size. You're going to spend more money. Pre-order now and get that locked in. Get it in time for the games and show your pride. Show your favorite podcast that relates to San Antonio professional football with a jersey. Here's something I love about this. I showed this to somebody earlier. I showed it to Jim Bernay. I sent it over to him and I was like, hey, aren't these cool? Don't these look great? And he goes, wow, y'all really thought this through. And I said, what do you mean we thought this through? And he goes, well, The 2 is the Brahmas, and it's their 2nd season. And the 4 is the Gunslingers, and it's their 4th season.
Hey.
And it's 2024. Y'all really thought this through.
Yes, we're that smart.
Yep, we sure did. We thought all that
through.
through.
That's my idea. Not. And the
We
cool
are geniuses.
Thing is, the cool thing
We're
is,
really smart.
on the days, if there's a game that the Gunslingers play and the Brahmas, you can wear the same shirt to both games.
Yes,
You don't have to change clothes.
If there happens to be a day that they both
Yeah.
play on that same day, which we don't know yet, thank you,
It
Brahmas.
could happen if you don't have the
and
schedule.
we have
Thanks
to
for your
rush
help.
from one game to the other. We won't even have to change. That is
Don't even have to
absolutely
change
correct.
shirts.
Awesome.
It's a win-win, people. It's a win-win.
Yep.
So to get all of these in on time, we can only take pre-orders up until our next episode. That will be your last opportunity, but you don't have to wait till then. You can go right now to your email and email me your information at Guns Up Podcast. That's GUNSUPPODCAST@gmail.com. And you can have your Smoking Guns Podcast fan jersey ready for you when the games kick off at the end of March and at the beginning of April.
Super exciting.
Awesome stuff.
Those are really cool. I actually wore today the only other bit of merchandise, the only other merchandise shirt we've ever printed. It's a Smoking Guns Podcast shirt from like 4 years ago that we did with South Texas Designs with Roy and Hannah over at South Texas Designs. We did these right when we first started the show. But I wore it today because I knew we were gonna put this out there, and I was like, hey, it's a merchandising kind of day. We don't do a lot of merchandise, and if we're really honest with you, we've never gotten really good response on merchandise.
That's fine.
Which is why we're doing it this way, where we can only put out so much money, and it has to be pre-orders because we've not really gotten that kind of response. But hopefully this will be different.
Someone found one of our hats at a thrift store.
Oh,
Did they really?
Yes.
That might have been Jerry.
Someone found one of our hats at a thrift store.
It's very odd to go into.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it is. It's very odd. It feels very weird to go into a thrift store and see something that you designed. So I do a lot of summer camps. I do a lot of youth summer camps. I direct summer camp and winter retreats for youth. And so we make a shirt for every one of those. And I've actually gone into thrift stores before and been like going through and I'm like, I made this shirt. Like I created this shirt. And now it is here in this thrift store. That is so cool. And then I think about it and I go, but that means that somebody didn't want it anymore. So is it cool?
It is still cool.
It's very odd. James Palmer said, didn't even know y'all had hats. Same time we made these shirts that I'm wearing today, we made just a handful of hats. I've got one
less than
that
10,
I wear every so often.
Do you remember when we had
the
coasters? We had the coasters for a little bit.
Yeah.
I still got
mine. And then the tags in the window, the decals.
The decals, car decals.
Hannah did those too.
Yep, I've got one coaster here in my office. I've got one on my bedside table at home. I have 2 of those coasters. I need to move that one to the living room because I don't take stuff to bed very often. I don't take a drink to bed very often. But Bo Ferrante says she uses her coaster daily.
Yay!
And so does James Palmer. He says, I have a coaster, use it daily.
So we have some
those are probably the most popular items we've ever had were the coasters.
They are cool. Yeah.
I'll see if I can get some more from my my friend Patricia Graham.
So that is the 2 big things that we wanted to talk to you about. We wanted to roll out that jersey and give you an opportunity to be a part of the Smoking Guns podcast. Again, any money we make on that is just going to go into keeping the show running and doing some of the things that we've gotten the opportunity over the last couple of years to do. Same thing along with our patrons. If you missed out, if you're dealing with FOMO right now and you're like, I can't believe I've thought about it and talked about it and I've never gone and and signed up on Patreon for the Smoking Guns podcast, and now I have missed out on something really, really cool, I'm sorry. But you can go to patreon.com/smokinggunspod. That's smoking no G, guns with a Z, POD, and sign up and become a patron.
Yep.
And
get in on the next big thing we do. Yeah.
And you never know. Last year we were able to make skipping the line at Gunslingers games for merchandise part of the plan, and I think a discount that we had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not promising that we can do that again this year. I haven't even approached the team yet about what we can do this year, but we've done some things for those folks. And we will continue to do things for those folks. And it's just our way of saying thank you, because we have costs that are part of the show, and we have to pay those month in and month out.
Plus, we like to do nice things for the 6 shooters.
Well, and for our community, we've paid for some scholarships to football camps with the Gunslingers, cheerleading tryouts, cheerleading camps. And that gives us an opportunity to make some of those things available and share that wealth a little bit. So if you're so inclined, go join us on Patreon. And if you are one of our patrons, make sure you let me know about jersey sizes and what you're wanting along the back of them. And that's on us. We're taking care of that.
And thank you
for you guys. And thank you for everything you do. It's kind of unfair, because we just went through a period of 3 or 4 months where we didn't really do a show. We took a break after the end of the season, and we didn't really do a show. We didn't keep our patrons. We didn't keep charging our patrons. We actually delayed that all the way to starting back up in the new year, which is why this is kind of cool. These people stuck with us even when we weren't producing content. Now, we weren't charging them either, but we weren't producing content, but they left their commitment out there to help us make the show go. And this is our way of saying thank you to them.
Yeah, we love our patrons.
Yes, we do.
Mo says, thank you. I have FOMO when you guys aren't on. Well, we're back, and we're going to be back every couple of weeks until we get into the season. And, hopefully the season works out so that we can enjoy Brahmas and Gunslingers games together. I'm really fearful that we're going to have conflicts. I know we'll have one or two. I expect 1 or 2 conflicts. But I just hope we don't have a lot of that. Chances are I don't want to say slim, but when you look at, you only have 5 home games most likely for the Brahmas. You're going to have 8 home games for the Gunslingers. And there's Saturday and Sunday night opportunities. So even if they fall on the same weekend, they may be on different times or different days.
The Brahmas can have all the Sundays they want, because I don't believe there's a Sunday game for Gunslingers. So I'm really hoping for a lot of Sunday games, Sunday Brahma games.
Yeah, absolutely. Sunday Brahma games would be fine. In fact, I would really enjoy that, I think. I wouldn't get to go to many of them. I would have to watch them because I'm 3 hours away, and Sundays are kind of a busy morning for us. But still, I would appreciate if they didn't conflict with each other. But we don't know that yet because we don't have a schedule yet, and I don't know what's holding them up.
Come on, UFL.
Come on,
hey, you had to go. This has been such a great show, so much positivity, the awesome jersey, and you had to go and make me mad again, Philip. Talking about the UFL schedule.
It is what it is. James Palmer says the weird one for me is that Thursday home game. I'm going to look at the schedule now because I know there is one.
Do have one.
Yeah, against Tucson, April 18th. It's a weird Thursday night game.
Hey, but definitely no conflict that week. So I was excited when I saw that week on there.
Right. And I think Mo's got it right. Thursday home game. I think I'll be sick until game time.
There you go.
True.
I don't know what you need, Mo, is you're sick the following day so you can recover. Right?
Right.
Or you're
It
sick
may
the
be a
day of.
2
Which
day-
is the better one? I'm not sure.
It may be a 2-day illness that has a surprising,
Yes.
eye of the storm right over game time, but you're sick the day before and you're sick the day after. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
Dr.
figure it
Phillip will write you a note.
out. We do. We need to create a note. Please excuse the name here.
Yeah. And the Smoking Guns podcast. Signed the Smoking Guns podcast.
What's weird is when you plot that month, April, on a schedule, we start on Saturdays. We start on a Saturday game here at home. It's a Saturday opener on April 6th. And then it backs up to Friday in Vegas. And then it backs up to Thursday at home against Tucson. And then it goes back to Friday in Frisco. And then it goes back to Saturday the next week against Frisco here at home. So my Gunslinger calendar on that month makes a little, what would that be? Greater than sign?
Yeah.
On my schedule, because it bounces from Saturday to Friday to Thursday to Friday to Saturday. So it just kind of goes like that. It's very weird. When I first plotted it on my calendar, I was like, that's almost like they were planning that, but I don't know why they would. So there have been in the IFL some schedule changes. I don't know if you guys have noticed that popping up on social media. I reached out to the team today and said, is anything changing on our schedule? And he said, definitely not for our home games. Our home games are locked. That is when those home games are happening. He said anything that changes would be venue changes at other team issues. So that's good news.
That is good news. Don't touch our home game schedule.
Yeah, it is what it is at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens in San Diego on the 1st. I know that the team is a little frustrated that they have to play in San Diego on the 1st, and then 5 days later, 4 days, really, they have to play on the 6th here. Is what it is. Like, you can be upset with the schedule, but you still have to play it. So
it's part of being a professional athlete. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that I make that home opener. I'm calling the games this year. Well, wait, RC, there are some things that are slightly more important than football.
I know.
Right?
Uh-oh.
Do we agree? My grandson is due that week.
That's right.
And so there's a possibility that I will be here in Palacios enjoying that game as Ralph and probably Gabe, or as Ralph and someone else calls that game. If he is born and we're still trying to figure out all of those things. Our hospital that she's going to give birth at is actually an hour and 20 minutes from here in Palacios. So she's going to have that baby either in Sugar Land or on Highway 59 going to Sugar Land, one of those two that week, most likely. So I don't know how that is going to work out yet. But I'm excited to see the season start and have football to talk about again. That's not the NFL. I like the NFL.
You'll be with us there in spirit, no matter what. So, and we'll be there with you. So,
Grandpa Phillip.
Grandpa Phillip.
You're old.
Pop.
We're going with Pop.
Pop. We're just Pop.
Just Pop. My wife has always had her grandma name picked out.
Lolly?
It's Nana. Her name is Diana. And in high school, for some reason, they started calling her Nana. And so that was her grandma name that she always had picked out. So I decided if she got to pick hers out early, I was going to pick mine. And before I wound up with Peepaw or something really weird that I wasn't excited about, I was just going to go with Pop. I like Pop. It's good and strong, and it's Pop. So
I
that's
said
what
Lolly because my friend, she's Lolly and her husband's Pop. So they tell the grandkids, let's go to Lollipop.
wow.
Nice.
That's cute. That's
That is
cute. I like
Mhm.
that. I like that
Hey,
a
if
lot.
the Gotham ends up being, too much of a hassle on the back of the jersey on the nameplate, you just go with Pop then.
Just go with Pop. Just
Pop.
let Pop drop there.
Yep.
That would be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? I'm ready to get the season kicked off. I am not regretting because I didn't make the choice to do it. I am lamenting that we do not have football for the next 2 months. Last year we had year-round football,
Mhm.
and it was great. Nana didn't agree, but I thought it was great that we had year-round football, and now we have this 2-month break between the Super Bowl and everything kicking off. I don't know.
Yeah, it made for a really long and exhausting season for the Smoking Guns podcast, though.
Yeah, it was.
We're gonna have to sign off,
Yeah,
guys.
it was.
Okay, RC, thanks for joining us.
Bye, RC.
Bye.
RC's gonna head.
Bye.
We'll see you later, RC. Yeah, it was a weird long season for us. I was definitely glad we were able to take a break at the end of the year. Now we're kicking back into gear, but I am kind of lamenting this wasteland of 2 months where there is no football, where all I can do is watch.
What are we gonna do?
Here's what you need to do, folks. You need to start catching up on IFL football. You need to go back and watch some old IFL games and start getting a feel for how this game is played, because it's different. There is some difference in the IFL and the NAL, or at least what we played in last year was the NAL. Well, Leo.
Yep.
What else? Football is coming in just a couple of months. I wish we had it all the way through. We don't. It is what it is.
We joke, we talk about the time that we have now once, after the Super Bowl, if you care about the Super Bowl, up until the season starts, but it's going to be here before you know it, really. It's going to be here super fast. And it's going to be exciting to see how things develop, for both of our local organizations, for the Gunslingers and for the Brahmas. There's still a lot left to be done, a lot left to be decided, roster wise and cut downs and watching those kind of things develop, and new signings and getting a schedule, UFL. There's a lot that's going to happen between now and then that for us to kind of talk about and think about. I'm really interested. Just talking today about what we've discussed with this Gunslingers roster, and talking about guys, joining us, like Fabian Guerra and, DJ Myers, and having Kali Rashad, still with us. For the amount of guys and talented guys, talking about the 7 veterans. I mean, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen here. I'm very, very intrigued. It's so much talent.
Yes.
I want to say 65 to 70%, if not higher. That may be low, Philip. 65 to 70% of the guys that are on the current, preseason roster that are coming to camp, those guys that don't make it, like when they get cut, when they get released, they're going to have a job as soon as they walk out the door, because that's how talented these guys are.
Yes.
65 to 70% of those guys that don't make the San Antonio Gunslingers, they're not going to wonder where they're going next, or worry about sitting around and, not getting paid because they don't have work. They're going to literally have a job when they walk out the door. Someone's going to be calling their line, because people are they're going to be waiting to see who are the Gunslingers cutting, because we need some guys.
Design.
Yeah.
That's by design. That is how Tom Manas has set this thing up. He has brought in 40 starting potential folks, knowing that he can only have half of that on game day. He's got 40 guys. He can carry 21 on game day. That's half of what he has. he knows, he has expressed to me and through other folks to me that all 40 of these guys are potential starters. All 40.
Think about that. Think about one, put yourself in those guys' shoes, knowing the battle that they're going into and what they're going to have to do to prove that they belong in the red, white, and blue of San Antonio Gunslingers. You know, they know they're going to have to give their all when they come to camp. They're going to have to compete at the very highest level to earn that roster spot. But also think about it in the sense of they knew that when they signed and they still signed.
Right.
What does that tell you about the organization?
Right, because it's no secret that there is a limit on veterans. We've all known that. And they're still signing on. Look, I could name 7 veterans right now. And some of those guys aren't going to make the team. When you talk about Kali Rashad, Fabian Guerra, Sam Castronova, Zach Brown, TC Stevens, you know, you can name those guys out and you get a lot further than 7 down the road before you run out.
Yeah.
And some of those guys just aren't going to be, you know, the math is not going to work out.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be shocking at the same time. I've never seen anything like this. Be prepared, San Antonio Gunslingers fans.
Tom and I says the best football will be played in camp. Can't wait to see that show. I agree.
Yeah, I bet.
I agree. And, you know, it's a great position to be in. And I think it's going to lead to some great things for this franchise and for this city. I can't wait to see it get started. I can't wait to see what we run out there. Look, do you remember the first half of last year when we were winning games and it was fun to win and every game felt like a win because it was? And, you know, like, wouldn't that be cool to do that like a whole season?
The whole season through? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool to be like one of the top teams for the whole season instead of that? You know, I will always think of last season with the Gunslingers. The first thing that comes to mind is the collapse. It is not the great start. We had a great start and it was a lot of fun and we were having a great time. We were winning games by the skin of our teeth and all of those kind of things. And that was fun. That's not what I think of first.
No.
I think of that collapse that we had.
As any football fan would, you know, rooting for their team. You remember how it ended, not how it started. Yep.
Right. You know, Jacksonville Jaguars fans are thinking the same thing this year. You know, they're not thinking about the great first 3 months of the season they had. It's that final month and a half that they just went through that they're thinking of. And we kind of had that same thing go on here in San Antonio. It's a new day. It's a new everything. Everything is different. The logo and the podcast are the only things that are still the same. We've got, well, an ownership, it hasn't changed. We've got new coaches. We've got new players. We've got a new league. We've got a new field. Everything is new. We got a new facility, for which we don't talk enough about the facility. And if you want to hear more about the facility, go check out Branded because they talk about and give updates on it. But that is cool. DJ Myers said it earlier. Nobody in indoor football has this kind of setup. The San Antonio Gunslingers are going to be one of the premier teams in indoor football because they're going to have their own. There's no more going out to, where was it, Pearsall Park?
Yeah.
And Sporty to go practice.
And worrying about getting hit with a soccer ball while you're out there practicing, stuff like that. No, and all of this, guys, all of it, I mean, it's a lot of money spent, and yeah, they're nice to haves, and it's like, cool, look at this and look what we're doing. But all of it, don't even have a second thought about it. It's all for the competitive advantage, because that's what all of this amounts to. It's a competitive advantage. Your players are fresher. They're they're better kept. They're meeting, as DJ very intelligently pointed out, in one place, gathered together. It's just makes things so much easier for their preparation and for them keeping their bodies ready. It's all about competitive advantage. They're coming into this thing and they're coming in with all guns, with their guns blazing, full throttle.
Well, and I don't want to steal his thunder because he's coming on with us in a couple of weeks, and I know he's listening to us right now. But I heard Coach say when he was hired here that you win championships in September.
Mm-hmm.
You don't win championships in July. You win championships in September. And so the work that has been done over the past 3 or 4 months to make all of these changes, to bring in these players, to bring in an amazing coaching staff. We don't talk enough about how incredible this coaching staff is. You've got the NAL Coach of the Year last year on your roster, and he's not even your head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even your head coach. That's your OC. The work that has been done this offseason, if that is true, and I have no reason to doubt Tom Manas, he's won 2 championships. I haven't won 2 championships. He's done it. He says you win championships in September. If that's true, they've done a lot of good work here in the offseason to get us to that point.
Heck yeah.
So
looking forward to it. So that's what we can do the next couple of months. Pay attention to that stuff because it's happening. It's happening right here in our backyards.
And camp starts soon, and that's going to be fun. Coach brings up that'll be the best football played all year will be in camp as they compete for spots with the Gunslingers. That's exciting. And we don't want to discount the fact that Brahma's football is starting up soon. We just don't know what that looks like yet. We know that we have a new kicker today, and we know that we have 6 quarterbacks in the quarterback room. That's going to change, I'm sure. We know those things, but it's really hard to get excited about something when you don't know what the season looks like and how that's going to be. So we'll get excited about that. We just don't have anything to really get excited about yet, right?
It's all going to come soon, I guess. It's just going to hit us like a brick in the face all at once. But bring it, UFL. We need it.
Yeah, we need that schedule so that we can get excited about that and we can plot how we're going to do all of this, how we're going to be fans of both of these organizations at the same time. We can. We know we can. It just may take some work. So,
yep.
Well, if you're excited like we are, there's work to do. Make sure you have your season tickets. Make sure you can sign up for season tickets. I just saw a great commercial today with Coach Manas on social media talking about $9 a month. $9 per seat per month is nothing. Nothing. You're spending more than that on Starbucks, on McDonald's. Go get your seats. Go get your gear. Order your Smoking Guns jersey so that you can wear that out and rep the show. And let's get ready for some football. The preseason of the NFL is over. Now we get into the real season of football. Now we get this camp time, and then we get to really get football that we can actually go to in person and enjoy and cheer for our team. Because you may be a Cowboy fan, you may be a Bronco fan, you may be an Eagle fan, you might be a Commanders fan like DJ Myers.
Lions fan.
You might be a Lions fan, but how many of those games did you go to? How many Commanders games did DJ Myers go to? How many Cowboy games did I go to? Now, Leo, you actually went out and got at least one of those games in, right?
Of which games? The
Broncos.
Oh, 2. I went to 2 this year. Both
2.
losses. Yeah, bummer. But we had a great time. One in Denver and one right here in Texas over in Houston.
Oh,
yeah. But,
but you don't get to go see those as many as you get to go
that's
see
hard to do.
Gunslinger games and Brahma games. Well, when it comes to football, and be back here on the 12th. Be back. We'll meet you right here on the 12th with that guy, Coach Tom Manas. He says, great show, boys. Thanks for the love. God bless you too, Coach. And we'll talk to you here in a couple of weeks. And I'll probably talk to you before that too. Your hat didn't work for the Broncos in person. He's right. The corduroy hat lost its mojo once you got there in person.
It was only good watching from home on TV.
I guess so. So superstitions are weird. You gotta match that same energy no matter what. When it comes to football, whether it's the 50-yard fight or the 100-yard variety, whether it's in Memphis or San Diego or over in Arizona or in Arizona or in Arizona, there's 3 teams there.
Yeah.
Over in Albuquerque or over in Jacksonville, no matter where they play San Antonio, in person, in the 50-yard arena or on the 100-yard gridiron, when it comes to professional football, the 210 has got something to say. Bang, bang. Thanks so much, folks, for hanging out with us.
Guys.
All 10 of you that are still there, come catch up with us again here in 2 weeks as Coach Tom Manas comes on and talks to us about the state of the team. That should be, I think, right before camp starts. So we'll really get an idea for what the game is or what the team's going to look like. I'm excited to spend some time talking with Coach. Like, I get a chance to talk with him, but not talk with him so that you guys can hear what to get excited about. I try to bring that over here, but I don't know if that translates. Hearing it from Coach is different. So
for sure. Share the video, guys, the show out on the fan pages and everything. Gunslingers fans need to see that DJ Myers interview. What a great interview that was.
Yeah.
Not even Gunslinger fans, just football fans.
Right.
They need to see that interview. Great interview. Great guy. Can't say that enough.
All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. We've enjoyed our time, and make sure you download the show on your podcatcher in the morning when it comes out, just so we get those numbers, those downloads. We really appreciate everything you guys do. Patreons, make sure you hit me up and let me know what you need jersey-wise. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.